S&P 500 gliding higher this morning after a pretty interesting session yesterday. Initially pushing lower here before rebounding as a group. Chips looking very similar. Semiconductors will be discussed today because they were absolutely on watch yesterday, and a lot of them kind of still consolidating near the prior day high. Here is a look at the NASDAQ looking very similar to the SPY today. Again, you get that move lower in the later morning and then the push higher throughout the rest of the day. Poised to gap up here as well. Keep an eye on USO yet again. As you guys can see, a little bit of a pop here. We're continuing to see comments coming through from different members of Iran and their government as they continue to opine on the MOU that was signed with the U.S., saying there's still some challenges in implementation. Let's go back to this 5-minute where we do a little bit of housekeeping for what to expect today, because we do have some data. At 9 a.m., you're going to be getting the Case-Shiller 20 year over year, not a number we usually read out here, but keep an eye if you're looking at some of these housing-related stocks. At 9:45 a.m., Chicago PMI and JOLTS job openings, the first of a couple employment prints this week, will come at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. will also bring the Conference Board Consumer Confidence print, which is less closely watched than the Michigan Confidence print, but still absolutely on notes. It's a rundown of some economic data to be aware of today. I also want to let you guys know here, seeing lots of catalysts come in different stocks throughout the morning. JOBY actually just made an announcement a couple minutes before we went live for you guys, working with Toyota on a joint venture to manufacture Joby's S4 series eVTOL aircraft. Sean and I were joking about this one off camera. JEM 707 came in. This is another kind of small cap from Hong Kong, but there's other companies, of course, to talk about as well. A lot of energy names on watch here, potential action from the Trump administration against Chinese energy plays. AVAV with a great move to the upside on earnings. There is a lot to discuss. Once again, good morning, Sharif. Happy
Good morning. Thank you, Adara. Likewise to you as well. Lots to talk about. As you mentioned, Apple in focus. Leaks from Tata as they look to diversify their supply chain away from China. These are the growing pains that they're going to have to figure out when manufacturing in that new country. So concerns there. Microsoft, we mentioned this to you guys in the afternoon yesterday with a tie-up with Anthropic. Good look for them. Amazon under scrutiny again, this time from the Australian regulator. And Uber and Waymo still doing business together, but in certain select cities. They are canceling their Phoenix partnership, no longer available. Waymo, that is, of course, on the Uber app. As Adara mentioned, AVAV, all sorts of strong in the morning. But let's be honest, when you look at the chart, we're just back to like last week's high. So not really a big move, but AMAT, what a move for AMAT, up 177% year to date, up again this morning to the tune of 2.5. It was up double digits yesterday. And there's a lot of different biotech names, guys. GLP-1 is going to be covered by Medicare, so keep your eye on that. Eli Lilly selected with Regeneron to be part of this new process to develop drugs faster. And then Abivax up 35% here, Dara, on a positive phase 3 trial.
Yeah, it really seems like tech here and biotech are going to be some of the sectors to watch this morning. But we want to know what you guys are watching. Good morning to Sean and Joe.
Good morning, Adair. Good morning, Sharif. Good morning, Joseph. Good morning,
man.
Everybody watching us here today. My mic pad is not great again over here. How's that, Andre? Hopefully it's a little bit better. Welcome everybody to what was supposed to be a really rainy, thunderstormy day around here, and it looks like it just passed us, so we're going to be good to go. I don't know what to tell you then, my guy. Okay, it's better now. We just got a big storm warning and missed it, but now it's supposed to be the temperature. I mean, I guess it's like this across the whole eastern seaboard. I mean, I don't know. I heard on the way in about all the temperatures, and we're supposed to get like 40 degrees here, Celsius.
Thursday.
The humidity is going to be out of
hit the
this
bang
world right now. So good thing Sharif's leaving because the humidity around
here.
He's
going to Dallas. He's going to Texas.
Is it supposed to be bad there too?
Texas is that's all it is humidity.
Yeah, I know, but I just mean compared to, I thought it was more dry there.
No, man, that's when I was there in April, okay. it was.
But it's just I know when it gets humid around here, it's like,
I love
my God,
it,
I know you're all about it.
The worst thing is though, what I actually don't like is when it rains and then the sun comes out and then you can see the steam. That's when it gets like really sticky. But other than that, I love just the sheer heat.
I do have my thing. That's going to get too hot, going to get too warm around
All right,
here.
Man, but
my daughter made me this for
That's
Father's
very
Day
nice,
a long time ago. That was last week or whatever.
Nice, man. Very nice.
I'll do that later.
But yeah, I mean, hey, listen, we'll take it. So far, NVDA up 1%. You know, we're going to be talking about this name quite a bit. We have the NASDAQ up here a little bit as well, too. Starting to come back in, guys. But, I mean, yesterday was a pretty good one between Sean and I. I think we're going to try to repeat the exact same thing. I got my eyes on some DRAM potentially. I like what we got going on from a daily. This is looking kind of attractive to me. Maybe we'll get some form of a continuation play there. Bitcoin doing what Bitcoin has been doing for the past little bit, looking like it wants to head towards and establish a new yearly low, which isn't the best sign. MSTR was up 11% yesterday when the actual underlying asset that it holds was only up at 0.5%, but now starting to give back the majority of that move. And I mean, if you're looking at the bigger picture here, Sean, it's only a couple of bucks there, $89. And I mentioned from before, if I'm going to be grabbing some more Ethereum or some more Bitcoin, it's not going to be the actual asset itself. It's going to be via these leverage plays just to see if we can get something going on there. And then here's RAM. I believe this is a 2x leverage. Remember, guys, these are not investment vehicles; they're day trading vehicles. But here's RAM, another one that came to market not too long ago last week with 1.27 million shares traded. And then as for some of the small cap players here, I'm not seeing anything just yet, but maybe Gem, and we'll get Adam James Abroad putting in some there in the chat, letting us know what he's looking at bright and early this morning. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities, and we're a couple of weeks away from rolling into earnings season. So looking forward to a lot.
End of the quarter today, of course, and what a quarter it was. Do you want to guess how much the Nasdaq was up this last quarter?
The last quarter?
Quarter.
Yeah, I'm gonna say north of 15%.
Yeah, it was 20%. Good one. So 20% for the Nasdaq. Quite a nice run that we've seen, and I think you nailed it when you mentioned what to look at when you're trading wise. I mean, I'm going to be looking here at SpaceX again, flat here on the day, but broke through that 160 and had a real nice run yesterday after that move. What time was it around? It was in the afternoon, so about 2 o'clock-ish. We had that 160 break. We came back in. We averaged it in on the 50-period moving average, and then it really just popped it all the way into the close there. So SpaceX really got going before some imbalances hit the stock. We came back into 162, but we're just trying to see if we can get going again on SPCX. But look at the Nasdaq, man. We just talked about the kind of month that it had and what a month it was, but it's fading out just a little bit here. We'll talk about it with the Qs. Nice move down. That's not a real wick, but there's the move down there. Got some numbers came out. Nasdaq just pulling itself a little lower, but there's the quarter that we're talking about from the Nasdaq. I mean, what an absolute monster we saw, and we'll see if it can wind up holding. And unlike some of these other names that have sort of fallen back down a little bit, like a Marvell, even like an ARM has came back in a little bit and might be worth a pickup there. But the Nasdaq trying to hold forward, right? And we had actually record closes on the Dow, and we're looking to get higher again here. There it is, DIA. So these are the diamonds. These are just little ETFs you can trade that are very similar to the actual index itself, if not similar exactly. There it goes, 523. So record closing for the Dow yesterday. We'll see if that can get going today, as it's been pretty flat. And it's not all roses for all the names, right? We talked about the Mag 7, and I feel like it's kind of a good thing that we got some market breadth a little bit over the last quarter, and even so far this year, where I just showed you the Dow is at all-time highs, which would indicate would be up here, right? The S&P 500 is moments away from all-time highs, and the Nasdaq's now down 3% from all-time highs. But there it goes, the Mag 7 still down about 10% overall. These core 7 holdings in a lot of people's portfolios still down 10% from highs. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of get up and value to take back into those names, I feel like. The stories have been, and Sharif nailed it with names like AMAT and underlying pressure on these indexes from Caterpillar, like creating new highs, Lam Research, LRCX, just all over the place with these names. ASML is another one. Look at Lam Research, where we're going out on Lam. I mean, this is out like a lion in like a lamb, something like that, but definitely going out like a lion there. ASML, something very, very similar, as some of these production names, you just start going. And if you diversified, into some of the makers of these equipment, you're starting to get to the high side there. And ASML looking like it wants to break higher as well. And then, what a good stock. And you're familiar with some of these ones, the Palo Altos, the CrowdStrikes. A lot of these names just continue to push. We got some bad quarters, and then bang, it was just like, thank you, see you later. Back up to the upside here as we continue to go for Palo Alto, down 1% today. Maybe get some value back in these names. And these are highlights that we can get behind. It makes sense why, the cybersecurity names continue to be strong. Yep. I think that, and we had a good quarter finally, and one of the picks that Neil had earlier in the year. Obviously, it's been a disaster, but back up 36% right now for AVAV. What a great. And Shreve had mentioned, like, we're just back to sort of where we were at the, maybe mid last month there, back, or I guess at the beginning of the month. But still, better quarter. They didn't guide. The EPS was bad, but definitely, I guess, turning heads a little bit with their report. Nice day. We'll see if we can continue that one up to 190 again for AVAV. But as you had mentioned before, still, well down from its highs. So you're gonna find some value in some of these names, and yeah, man, so far it's so good.
So far,
we'll see what winds up happening.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's send it back to that. See what they're up to.
We'll definitely be getting into AVAV on that rundown. It was also on our watch list. It wasn't at the top of our watch list, though. We'll get to that in a couple seconds. But first, guys, keep an eye on USO. More comments coming in from Iran. Iran's Bagay saying that the interim deal clauses need to be implemented before talks with the U.S. to reach a final deal can start. So once again here, we saw this yesterday as well. Iranian individuals in that negotiation team continuing to say they need to reach certain aspects of this MOU before they can start final negotiations with the U.S. So just be aware these comments are continuing to come down the wire. Let's talk here, though, about what was at the top of a rundown. I've seen some people in the chat asking about it. These solar plays. You've got Enphase, First Solar, Solar Edge, even names like GEV on watch here. Trump administration could be making a move to act here in the solar space against some of these Chinese companies.
Yeah, and you can see Enphase is up 11 and change. And some of this has to do with silver, Adara. And it's interesting here how these actually work together. So the World Silver Survey confirmed that photovoltaic, I think, that's how you say it, photovoltaic, I'm not really sure. Solar panel manufacturers have successfully executed an aggressive 19 to 23% year-over-year reduction in their silver consumption. So their input cost drastically going down as a result of a technological change. And you're seeing that sort of play in with the market kind of moving in that direction. But we've been talking a lot about how some of these solar names have been very, very strong year to date, whether you're thinking about putting data centers in space or alternative sources of energy. And it's interesting, Adara, because you didn't typically think that these solar stocks would have such a good move in a year where the Trump administration has basically done all but help the solar industry in obviously looking to, boost the fossil fuel industry a little bit more. So interesting kind of take there.
Well, I want to get back into the Trump administration here because that's actually what the catalyst was for these today when you have Enphase running to the upside. Reuters reporting the Trump administration is actually working on a ban on imports of foreign-made energy inverters, apparently an FCC rule targeting the equipment used to connect solar projects and batteries to the power grid. So that's what's happening here. Trump administration actually reportedly potentially working on this draft rule that could help some of these non-Chinese solar companies here. The proposal is driven by national concerns that, you guessed it, Chinese-made inverters could be used to disrupt electricity supplies. It's still under review. This is not finalized. It could be changed. It could be dropped entirely. But again, guys, that is the news here for the likes of Enphase, Solar Edge, etc. today. I know some people in our chat are looking at these solar plays. Do you guys have any looks at solar today?
Yeah, what's going on back over here with TAN? I mean, that's what I was looking at, the solar ETF. Shreve was mentioning how strong some of these solar names have been. And if we do like the, he's talking about from the start of the year, of course. So 50 bucks for TAN, start of the year, now up to 59. So you got 20% right there year to date on solar names. But the thing is, it's come from a top. So, if we like these stories and we think there's some, opportunity here in the space, this is probably a great opportunity to enter into the TAN ETF. Ooh. I mean, we talk about, trying to pick and choose different names. Always we hear First Solar, and you guys let me know in the chat if there's another name, that we should be looking at, maybe focusing on here more long-term. But First Solar is one of the best names as far as I know in the space. And I don't do a lot of work in, these names, but there it goes, right? Up to 320, like what a huge move there for FSLR. But similarly to Aero Environment, like we saw, huge move back in. Now finally starting to get some stories, and maybe we start to go back up to the upside for FSLR. And the reason why we think we like this one is oh, wow, thank you, Randy, another one. Yeah, yesterday they were a little right, but hopefully, these ones look much better there today. Thank you, Randy. Well, what the hell?
These are big ones, man.
All right, go big or go home. Yeah, that's right. But there it is right here, back into the 200 period moving average. So for me, I like this name down here at these levels. The other name that I actually held some, I've held M-Phase before in my account, and I don't remember exactly when or why, but this one's blasting today, you know, up that 10%, starting to get going there. And they all have that sort of peak to trough feel about it. So maybe it's N-Phase that didn't even get down to the 200 period moving average, that now is starting to go a little bit higher rate here, and maybe something to look at for, you know, ENPH. Even when we were driving home, and this is, you know, not what we're, you know, the reason why these markets are moving today, but, you know, solar is such a natural energy source that I'm wondering if there's at some point they can convert. Like we were saying, like what if Tesla or some of these EVs, I know Fisker tried with a solar roof. You know,
I remember watching a bit when Elon Musk was talking about that. It's a little bit more difficult, obviously, than how we would think.
Do you own any solar names?
No, I don't, man. I wouldn't even, honestly, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even bat an eye at some of these. I know you're talking about N-Phase here today, up 11%. I can definitely take a look at that. But then you have the Ricky Tan ETF. For those who know, but the TAN ETF and then First Solar, those are the only ones on my watch list, to be honest with you. But then Sharif's Joby Aviation over here is looking pretty good bright and early this morning as well. Darrow was talking about the news on this one, so hey, maybe we'll keep an eye out on N-Phase and some of these cheaper names and get some form of a continuation in Joby, or it could be a potential fade here on the day. So, I mean, there's going to be plenty of opportunities. You can see this one up here. SMR down to $10. Man, oh man, like what a fall from grace New Scale Power had. And I know a guy from work, that's his username. I always have to say that, down 82%, which is a really tough look. And this name just can't find a bottom right now.
Oh, New Scale.
Yeah, New Scale Power, SMR, yeah, down 80% plus off of the high. So it makes things a lot more difficult as a shareholder if you've been involved with this and you're buying it up all the way up here and say like even the 20s or 30s, it's going to take a little bit for this to get rolling again. But again, well, we'll keep our eyes on multiple things throughout the day. Silver up 1% here today. I think this might be a little bit oversold. We're back to December of 2025 levels. So, I mean, what an absolute cool down and a meltdown here in silver, down 52%. Same thing here with gold, Katina, man. Man, what a fall
from down 52% from when?
From the high, from the peaks, yeah. And then you got 30% off of the highs there in gold. So, I mean, listen, blood in the streets. Could this be a good opportunity to start buying a little bit of this stuff? And then we have NVDA with the inability to crack this $200 marker, popping up to 198 bright and early this morning, and then just kind of a mixed bag between some of the other Mag 7. I know you're talking about this one, Mags here. It's still down 10% right off of the highs. And need I talk about Netflix at this point, because this is a name that just continuously gets beaten to a pulp.
Yeah, just don't talk about it.
Yeah, well, we're there, man. We're going to pour some salt in the wound, down 45%. Off of that.
That's what I was saying about how these markets are at these levels, but then there's so many key names that continue to push a little lower. So
yeah, exactly. Like, and it's even like Meta. Like look at Meta down. It's still around 30% off its highs.
I just probably own too much Meta anyway.
Same, man. 30%.
How much? 30-something%?
Yeah, 30%.
Yeah, not great. But yeah, I think this is an interesting spot, honestly. I know we don't love solar or anything like that, but with the Chinese now, you know, these potential bans. I mean, President Trump drafting up these bills. Photovoltaic. I don't know, something voltaic. Someone had an interesting point there in the chat. They said that, hey, maybe the paint eventually will be able to draw from the sun, right? So that should be interesting there. And then Trade Green Candles says, and it's a good point, you know, we've had solar for decades and it's still mostly useless. I mean, I don't know enough about that, but yeah, it seems like we haven't done enough with it yet. But you know, this is good ETF here. And I think an ETF is an easy way to diversify if we do worry that, hey, maybe this market is a little overheated. Pardon the pun when we're talking about TAN and solar, but I think we can get a nice move higher here in solar. And so, yeah, I mean, with it being talked about now on a presidential level, I like it. And I think we'll have to see what happens today. You don't often get an ETF up 2.9%. So it could be pretty good. I think there is going to be use cases for solar, and it's probably, even though it's been around for a minute, feel like there is still a lot of solar-powered equipment out there, even if it's just light, low power density, like light fixtures or things like that, and even this calculator probably from the 1980s, solar-powered as well. All right, it's Joe over there at the big screen. He's got to talk about some options. Let's go find out exactly what some of those names are on today's watch.
All right, guys, welcome and good morning. Let's take a look at some of the options activity from yesterday's session. We're going to kick things off with Comcast here, guys, bright and early. A name that had a lot of open interest and a name that we don't typically talk about via options. But here we go. We're going to be looking at this $25 strike price, guys. Now, as for the bid in the ask, $2 spread, very liquid, something that we don't often see within this specific name, but it happened to make the most volume list. Now, this is going to be expiring July 17th, but what I really want us to focus on is the open interest at this $25 strike price, which we started to come in a little bit off of. 107,000 contracts still open at that level, and then volume 65,000 open and closed on Friday session. So let's keep an eye out on $25 and any form of rejection around those areas if you happen to climb towards that level. Now, as for the delta, guys, sitting at $32, pretty expensive, right? So, I mean, for every $1 move, this is at the time was close to an at the money in the money contract. Now, as for your gamma exposure, $17 as well, too. So that's half of your delta. For every $1 move in your delta, you're going to see that contract change from $32 all the way up to $49. That's pretty drastic. Now, as for your at the money IB, sitting around 39%. Now, let's actually take a look at this contract here, guys. So right out of the open, 278% appreciation within this specific name. And that's the beauty of some of these contracts. If you just happen to buy some, you have your order, your market on open order, and then you get those fills, that's when you're going to really see, especially if you have a strong opening drive, that's where you're going to be able to gain, to capture that maximum gain in the specific contract. But also, just due to the fact that this one's expiring in a couple of weeks, don't forget, theta is going to kick in, right? It is a little bit near dated, but you also lose the value of the contract pretty quick. We go from $29 all the way up to $1.10 and then proceed to lose the majority of it from that point, around 60 or 54%, okay? Moving forward, let's take a look at SpaceX. Sean trading this one yesterday, guys. A nice move in it, $165 strike price. We're going to be looking at that specific level. Now, as for the open interest, sitting around 6,200 there, and volume 25,800 contracts open and closed on yesterday's session. This was closer to at the money, so this is why I want to keep an eye out on this level, and it's going to be expiring on July 2nd. Now, as for the bid in the ask, $10 spread, guys, that's not bad whatsoever. And for a name that is new to the market, I heard a couple of analysts just speaking the fact that we don't see this type of volume in IPOs in the derivatives world. It was top 3 the first week, which is something that I personally never seen as well. So delta sitting around that $49 metric, your gamma exposure, relatively cool. But you're at the money IV, you're going to see an uptick in implied volatility to the tune of 89.6%. Now, as for the contract itself, guys, if you were to have purchased this contract right out of the gate at the open, you're going to see 152% return on that name. But again, you have to have your market on open orders, otherwise you may miss the opportunity. Even though this specific name did sell off a little bit, held the $2 marker and the $1.50 marker on the contract itself, and then really started to move. So let's keep an eye out on some of these levels, guys. We'll send it back to Sean.
Yeah, definitely liking some of that call on SpaceX there. I think that once you get stock that's trying to move like that, and interesting to hear that goes right into the top 3 there over the coverage of those options in that first week of trading. And it's been an absolute amazing trade for SpaceX for myself, and we'll see if we can do it again here today. And we're lowering our risk a little bit and waiting for some bigger moves, so we'll see if that happens. And I think Joe's advice there about marketing into the option maybe right off the open, something to consider. I never would consider hitting a market key for options, but maybe a good idea. The NASDAQ right here is kind of tumbling so far this AM. I mean, it's started off really nice. We came in and it was up quite nicely there. And then since we sort of turned on the lights, it's been a nice downside play. So not sure exactly what's going on, but I was looking at Bitcoin. That's down 3%, looking to get lower right here, right now. And we will talk about some crypto. We saw MicroStrategy yesterday with sort of restructuring some of their capital plans. That's sent that name going to the high side. But there's no stopping Bitcoin. We just talked about the kind of quarter that the NASDAQ has had. Yeah, kind of oppo taco here for Bitcoin. I mean, it's been a real bad run for them. I mean, they were nicely cooking back in May. Now you're down, trying to break lower. I just wrote down off the list that we'll be looking at something like a $60,000 sort of, if we can get back up there. I wrote down 33.75 on the note today just to see if there was a chance that that comes into play again. This is basically this kind of an area where we blasted off from there yesterday, 33.75 and change. If we can get back up and just sort of drift back higher. Look, man, there's moves, right? If we get a move like this right off the open and Bitcoin all of a sudden retraces back, wow, we just took another leg lower there in BTC. So yeah, it looks like it's trying to get lower there. It just took down 58.7. Is that the actual, what is the actual low here? Hold on a second. I'm always looking at the dollar here. So this is the DXY on my trading view chart. And that's trying to get a little stronger right now, the dollar on a 1 minute chart. So we watch out for that. A strong dollar generally means that we get the NASDAQ going the other way. So that's part of the reason why. We have the Japan carry trade. Well, hopefully we could talk about that at some point as well. But since we're on Bitcoin, let's have a quick little look here. This is the Bitcoin. Wow, yeah, okay. So falling off a cliff right now as we get a little nervous. If we go over to a 1 day chart, I think this is probably the problem, Joe, is that if we sort of zoom back out here.
Oh man, it's disastrous. Look at that.
We're starting to lose, right? I mean, and now I feel like once we do, and we're losing it right now, 58, if we can lose that, just as a key level. You know, we bounced off 58. What day was this? June, actually this is just June the 5th or so, down there, 58, 59, we held. So now we're trying to test a little bit lower, but as we zoom out, we always talk about nothing wrong with taking a little bit of a zoom out here. Yeah, man, I thought we were gonna hold up around here, man.
You thought you were gonna hold that?
Not that I thought we were gonna hold it, but that would have been a reasonable spot.
This is like a double head and shoulders pattern. Right?
It's not looking great, and you're trying to fall back in here. The problem is where to look after that. And you have some low wicks here in the 55 area. I mean, does that wind up?
Where is like that?
I think it's pretty.
It's like free falling over there.
Pretty, yeah. Because what's the reason anymore? That's 30,000 down there. And even if it gets down there, do you really want to buy it? I mean, we could get to 30 pretty quickly. You lose $3,000 or $4,000 today.
Yeah.
You know, then you're back into here. Then it whoopsies itself again. Next thing you know, in the next couple months, maybe you are down here into 30,000, and then you're wondering if 20,000 holds, and then. You know, bye-bye Bitcoin. Those tulips have become less valuable.
You think it's the tulip scenario?
Well, what else is it? Explain to me a reason why we should be holding Bitcoin.
Currently, right now, there is no reason to be.
Sounds
holding
like a tulip trade.
You don't need. There's no yield. There's nothing along.
You gonna finally put this in your ear or what?
No.
No, cool. Yeah, no, I was up.
Well, it's the opposite side. Dude, it's opposite side, so it doesn't work. And I can't log into Unity.
You can't put it in your right? Oh, because you don't have a right ear.
Yeah. So
doesn't it come in a pair? Or don't we have?
Oh, man. And then also the Unity, the Unity.
It's not logged in for you.
Yeah,
no, I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know, I could tell.
But no, I still own some Bitcoin. I'm not trying to say that
of course,
it's not
so do I, man.
useless. It's just, I feel like as a store of value, it hasn't really been following its plan of action here, right? It used to trade sort of with the NASDAQ a little bit, and it's not happening. But at the same time, you know, like you already mentioned gold, you know, and I didn't even realize, and of course we realize it because we've been talking about it, and we sit here and look at these things all the time. Well, how come that didn't change? You know, the fact that you mentioned, I didn't realize it was down 30%.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, that's 500. The thing is, it kind of went a little parabolic here, obviously, when we were starting to go up. Like, you went from 420 right there in January 20th up to basically 520 in 8 days. So you gained 25% in 8 days. You know, so the fact that we're down 30 now, Still nasty, but yeah, the break there. Now you get, I don't really believe in this kind of stuff, but there's the golden cross from the 200 to the 50 period. Right now making that move lower. That's never been seen as a good sign either. So yeah, and I think if you're gonna go store value, obviously gold would be something to look at there. But as we start talking about some of the currencies unwinding, we look at the yen. The yen's at the lowest level since 1985. I read yesterday, and I don't have any yen. Well, you know, we can probably
look at the crypto space here, though, man.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I know it's nasty.
It's nasty. Bitcoin down 2.6%. You have MSTR down 5% here, so giving up the majority of that run on yesterday's session. Ethereum down 3.6%. BMNR down another 3%. Coinbase down 3.25%. Robin down 1 1/3. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. What I do like here, though, is I feel like we've kind of got that decoupling from Robinhood and the cryptocurrencies, which I think is rightfully so. I know the transactions were hurt just due to the fact of what's going on with Bitcoin, but there's so much more going on for this company right now. We talk about the PDT rule being lifted and how we had that couple of days surging where every other small cap gapper was halting, it felt like, at some point. So, and I mean, they're talking about tokenization of a bunch of things, and I know that's related to the Ethereums and the Solanas of the world, but the way this is performing is absolutely fantastic. Now, CrowdStrike and PanW, I think Sharif might be able to touch in a little bit more on this, but news about China really stepping up their cybersecurity game yesterday might have added a little bit of a tailwind towards some of these CrowdStrikes, PanWs, and the Zscalers of the world. So yeah, not too bad of a look. They've been on a pretty big run, and we talked about them being down 40% at one point, and then almost going parabolic to the tune where you're turning positive. So the cybersecurity names, I believe, are going to remain strong. So yeah, let's send it back to the desk and see what they're up to.
Yeah, I'll go over the yen carry trade because I know Sean mentioned this, a couple people in the chat also mentioning this. Let's get into it a little bit. So here's the yen to the US dollar. This is on the daily chart. As of yesterday, I was seeing we actually hit currently 40-year lows on the yen to the USD. So basically the carry trade in essence is what happens when you've got this investment strategy. Traders are borrowing money in Japan because interest rates in Japan historically have been near zero. Then they'll use those funds to buy higher yielding assets, including USD. Now, we know there was that famous unwind on August 5th of 2024, which also had a crash in the market. We jokingly or colloquially, third try, refer to it as the Black Monday. But yeah, either way, that's kind of a little bit of a brief look at the carry trade. Now, I was seeing as of a couple of weeks ago, yen short bets hitting a 9-year high, but again, that's of 2 weeks ago. So a little bit of an update here on this. We're gonna talk some Amazon, but first, Sharif, I wanna talk about this JEM. Because this is a small cap, we know. Joe mentioned it, Sean and I were mentioning it off camera and on. JEM, I couldn't find much float info here, but they announced a new director. How do you feel about the stock?
You know what? Right now, it does look good, Adara. It's holding yesterday's structure, so that $3 area, that is the pre-market. Wow, actually not even pre-market. That was the official high yesterday. So you took that high out this morning into 350. The good news is you cleared that, you got into 4, and now you're holding 3 here, pardon me, as support. So as long as this one maintains sort of its price above the volume weighted average price, we're going to keep it on watch. However, I'm not very pleased right now with these lower highs. A breach of 4, lower high into 375, lower high into 3 2/3, and now failing 3.5. But hey, it's up 206%, so you better believe it's going to be on watch.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one there. Again, Hong Kong name, I could not find any float or market cap info. Now, one name we obviously know a lot of market cap info, general info about here is Amazon. AMZN saw B of A weighing in this one, but they also have some antitrust news out of Australia.
Yeah, this time it's the Australian regulator, the Australian Competition and Consumers Commission, the ACCC. They're not very happy here, and they've launched a lawsuit against Amazon as well as Amazon's parent company, Amazon US, in federal court. And what they're targeting is the unilateral introduction of Prime Video advertisements to over 850,000 of their citizens. Now, this is something that Amazon's already done in North America. Anybody with an Amazon Video Prime account knows you're watching ads unless you're paying a little bit more. And that's exactly what they want here. They want another $2.99 a month on top of the tariff that they're already paying to get ad-free service. But here's the deal. Australia introduced this new unfair contract terms legislation in late 23, and this would be the first test of that new legislation against a major company like this. And this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted to set it up in this way. Now, this new legislation possibly can levy a fine of up to 30% of the adjusted corporate turnover during the brief period, or 50 million Australian dollars. But legal desks here are saying that Amazon does have a good legal defense. So let's cover it. Basically, they're saying at the time of the rollout, the regulator's official compliance guidelines stated that a fair contract simply required giving users advanced notice of a unilateral change and the right to terminate the contract. Amazon is likely going to argue its behavior matched those federal guidelines, as customers were made aware of the increase in price and also, of course, have the right to cancel the membership if they don't want to pay that $2.99 or continue to stay with the ad tier, Dara. So let's see how this regulator tie up here with Amazon.
Yeah, interesting look there for AMZN. I also want to mention this one that's rallying a little bit here. Saw someone in the chat mention it. Saver one, SVRE, you've got a 2.5 million share float entering the military UAV market by signing a term sheet agreement to acquire 33%, so a third here, of this Griffin Aircraft Industries, SVRE and Watch. But I mean, how do you guys feel about the Amazon and the likes of those, or maybe even some of these small cap plays here?
Hey, 850,000 local streaming customers in Amazon. Did you see that Amazon Prime members are going to get 50 cents off a gallon as well, too? Through
they are?
Yeah, through July.
With
a
what?
Gallon. You see
in the States, I guess, yeah. With what?
Yeah, in the States. So from the second to the fourth. Yeah, it's a great question. Maybe we can figure that out right now. So I think that's interesting, right? I mean, we talk about digital tax here. You see some of the hyperscalers going through that. So some new regulatory issues that Amazon is falling into, but I don't think it's going to be a massive needle mover, to be honest with you. So as for your gas thing here, Katina, man, let's see, it's based in Seattle maybe here. Prime members can save 50 cents per gallon on fuel during the 4th of July weekend, plus savings on barbecue grocery items like grilling meats under $10, summer produce under $4, and party-sized snacks at $2. So, okay, so these guys are on fire here. It sounds like a good time to be an Amazon Prime member. So not too bad of a look there. But as for what they got going on here today, not overly liquid, Sean, as it typically isn't in the morning. But this is another name where you're down double digits off of the all-time high when you go and you go on a nice big run, but you're down 16%. So you're knocking on the door of potentially heading into that 20% down. And I know a lot of people talking about bear market territory at that point. I think if there's any of these names that we're going to be grabbing, Google and Amazon are definitely at the higher end of my list.
I just want to talk about, so we did have, we talked about the Japan carry trade and the yen here. Like, these are the levels that you talk about. And the problem is that the yen has always been, Japan keeps rates at zero, right? And so what winds up happening is you borrow against that. So you buy the yen at $0, you put in the US dollar that has some sort of an appreciation value to it, and you get a return, right? And what winds up happening is once you get the BOJ starting to increase rates, issues starting to happen a little bit there with their US dollar, with their dollar against the US, and this is the USD Japan yen, Japanese yen rate now. This is from 1986 right here, and it looks like we're trying to break through. So what winds up happening is now we've got to start to cover that trade that we have on where we need to buy back the yen because it's trying to break out now. And all of a sudden, that 2 or 3 or 4% that you're trying to carry from one currency to the other now starts to blow up and everybody starts to panic. And then that creates a massive sell-off in global assets. And I actually just put this out here. I was able to get a sort of a little bit of an explanation here on what's been happening in the yen carry trade. So this is what it is. The yen strengthens, BOJ raises rates, borrowing the yen becomes more expensive, right? Because the rates are getting higher. You can't borrow at 0%. Investors panic, must pay back their yen. To do that, they're selling stocks, cryptos, bonds. I mean, you can add it into here, gold, silver, whatever. Then you have to buy the yen to pay off your owing, right? Because you've borrowed against the yen. Then that strengthens more. And then the next thing you know, we did have I remember there was a panic in that space not too recently ago. It was back in, it was right into here. It was July of 24 because I was in London.
August 5th.
August 5th, exactly, yeah. So I was in London during that time. I was just looking at the chart here. So yeah, we did have a nice little panic of the same kind of a move that had happened, and then we settled back down, and now we're trying to get back through one more time here. So you can go check it out. I can put that, I'll just put my handle in the chat. You guys can go have a quick look in that. But yeah, the Japanese, I don't know what the Nikkei, N-I-K, How do you spell Nikkei? N-I-K, Japanese 225 daily. That might be okay. Yeah. The 1 month here, the Japanese Nikkei, is that right?
Yep.
All the way to the top side right there. So this is a 1 month. We've got to go over to a daily chart to see. Yeah, so it's not, there you go, a little bit less pronounced there. That was over all time. So that's why it looked like that. But here we go, a little bit of a move here on the Nikkei. So we have to have a quick little look and see what's going on in Japan. But that's a little bit of a carry trade explained just a little bit. There you can go and have a quick little look at that. Obviously, there's much more in-depth talk with it. But we talked about Amazon yesterday. And I think it's interesting. Obviously, Australia, you talked about like sort of the anti-competition there and maybe its first challenge to unfair contracts. I don't, Amazon is a bully when it comes to retail, of course. It reminds me a little bit of Costco. They have the distribution, they have all of the buying power, and they're using your money to do that, right? I mean, they have all these customers. You just mentioned 850,000 streaming customers or something. So absolutely ridiculous. Nice bounce yesterday off the 200 period moving average. Look, I like Amazon down here at 234, 235. It's one of the better, I think, Mag 7s that have a little bit of a moat around them. AWS is still so strong. So I like AWS. I like the retail side of things. And then also, it's not just Starlink. Like Amazon has satellites up there. They're trying to do something similar with internet. And I just forget the names of what they're all.
I think.
Is it EchoStar? I don't know. EchoStar, isn't that a satellite dish? Maybe. Anyways, this is what we're trying to do here with Amazon is try to understand what the businesses are. Zoox as well. Yeah. Plus they have, which is a EV cars, robo-taxis. They also have the largest stake in Anthropic. So as Anthropic comes out of any public company. So as Anthropic, it's them. I believe they're still ahead of Google. Google dumped a little bit of money in a couple months ago. But Amazon still has, I feel like, a lot of runway back to the upside. So I do like all of that to get back into the account. But like I said, the Mag 7 ETF, I think, is a good one. And we'll see what happens with that as we continue to go on. But yeah, I hope that explains a little bit more about the Japan carry trade. And I just put that out. You can go have a quick little look at that. And we'll see if it does create some uncertainty. And that would explain a little bit as why Bitcoin is also going to the downside. Selling some more speculative assets to cover some of your potential loans that you have outstanding that are not going in your favor. Yesterday we had a big move in Tesla. I mean,
Tesla was up 8% at its high.
There's a lot of big moves. I mean, did it get to that 420 marker? Or is that where it stopped? Didn't quite get that high yesterday. That was the marker, I think, on the 200 period moving average or something there for Tesla was up at 420. That was just a breakout area. That weird. Yeah, 420, 200 period. Yeah. So, wow, sometimes you just remember some of those levels, but right into there. So we're looking to see if we can break back above 420, down 1.49% right there. Nasdaq trying to battle. It's been a little bit of a slope here early on, and we're just going to turn up the news here as we get closer and closer to open. Market trying to bounce a little bit off some of those lows. What a surprise, man, Joe. 30,000 almost on the knot there. Yeah. Back to the upside now, up 50 points from there. So should be a good one, and we'll just continue to run it. Yesterday, Rocket Labs had a good day, buying some assets from IRDM yesterday. That was an interesting play as well. And then that started to spark up a little bit of SpaceX, which was downside early. We hit the short. Then we got the long on that 160 break. And I actually have, and we're probably going to talk about SpaceX, but I have it as written down as no surprise here. The number one stock. The number one stock on the sticky note again will be SpaceX. And I just want to see if it comes back into 160 again. That's it. We'll take the long if it comes back to 160. If it doesn't hold it, we may flip it into the short.
Yeah, SpaceX with the mobile device.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me yesterday. I actually missed that story yesterday, that they're trying to do that. So, yeah, man. Well, the dollar's showing its strength every single day. And it seems like with USO I thought USO was up a little bit today. Wasn't it 107 and change? Yeah. There goes oil. Now it's coming back, but we were up decently there on USO. So we had a question yesterday. I thought maybe oil is due for a little bit of a pull back into some of these levels up here. I don't think 130, but maybe back into this 120 area. It's 107 now. Been a pretty dramatic move down, and we'll see if we can get a little bit of stability back there as we look to fill back those strategic oil reserves and see if we can get some, supply and demand equation back in line to create a little bit of a bump there for USO. I saw gas today was 149.9 at my place. They're at one of the local SOs that always seems to be pretty cheaper.
Okay.
That's the one thing about gas. You guys all know that. It's funny how sometimes the gas station, like on the very other side of the street, can be a few cents higher or lower.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. For me, do you have loyalty there?
To SO?
No, to anywhere. Like for gas.
I prefer SO because I find it's more efficient in my vehicle.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Right.
Yeah,
like if you found out things like that, because for me, I never looked dug deep into it.
Always.
I kind of just go.
I don't know. I just kind of gauge it. It's not like there's any mathematical calculation
frugal.
to it. For me, like I'd check out Petro, obviously Petro Canada.
Yeah, like the bigger names rather than the wholesale.
Yeah, exactly. And then I just always like go into SO because I'm like, all right, this stuff lasts the long.
Marissa always tries to gas up. I tell her never waste your time in Costco lines because it depends on how long.
Isn't that SO gas or Shell gas or something?
I don't know who they use.
Yeah,
but no, I feel like the gas is fine at Costco, but sometimes the lineup, you could be a couple minutes.
Which is crazy.
A couple minutes would be fine, but if it was like more than 10 minutes or so,
I know.
You got to value.
If there's like 4 or 5 cars in front of you, I don't know if I'm going to be.
The thing about Costco is they have those extra long hoses that go all the way around, so you don't have to go on the right side.
On the right side,
you can go on whatever one you want there, and it's anyways.
Someone thought good about
maybe like 20 pumps or something at the local.
Someone says there's weak gas over there in Costco. I'm not a Costco.
Gas?
Yeah, I've only been in a Costco a couple of times in my life.
I think a lot of it is wholesaled too, right?
Yeah.
Like sort of whatever's kind of left.
The lower.
That's right there. But I don't know. I don't know enough about the gas market to know if Costco has weak gas.
Yeah, you're in the Tesla market now,
or
man.
not. Yeah, my car's charging right now.
Yeah.
Down there. That's the thing about these LFP batteries. They actually like the full charge. So, some of them they say. The newer ones, like you only want to go to 80%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mine is still a 100% one there, and it's I don't know. That's
you get to charge it for free here too, man.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. So you didn't even have that's such a massive expense elimination.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I wasn't a direct compliment to you.
Well, that's why we got it.
But yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Literally, why?
Like,
the minute we saw, I mean, I don't know why Randy drives 200 kilometers.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
an EV. It doesn't make sense. Dude, there's a guy on my hockey team.
It's not, yeah, go ahead.
So there's a guy on my hockey team. He's like, yeah, I spent $13 this month charging my Tesla.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't drive that much, but I'm still like $200 a month to fill up my vehicle.
It's not
more.
So like we went all the way to Vermont, and I was actually going to do this math.
Yeah.
I thought if I took the Atlas, it would cost about $200 because I think it was.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it was about 700 kilometers. I'll have to re-look at it to see, and so that would be about a tank and just a little bit more than a tank.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it's like 65 liters. So that would cost about $90, $100 for.
How much did the supercharger cost you?
That's what I was going to add up. I think we're under like $60 to $70 total trip. In charging.
Okay, so you cut it in half pretty much.
Yeah, but I was saying, there'll be 180. So I think it would have been 180 plus driving a little bit around Vermont. So I think we would have been at least $200 in gas, and I charged about.
So 70% reduction almost.
Yeah, so it's not like it's the cheapest ever to use the superchargers, and then you got to wait also like that 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But we were stopping anyways. You grab a coffee, you do this, you do that, you stretch your legs.
Stretch your legs,
go for like a little 5-minute, walk around. Do about 100 push-ups, get back into the car.
Couple leg raises.
Yeah, that probably didn't happen. We also have a look at the new Rivian should be.
Yeah, you were telling me
as well. There's a lot of good EV spots there. And the thing is, with the supercharger network expanding so rapidly now,
you need the.
There's over 80,000. Yeah, you
need the infrastructure.
So driving along the 401, major highways, they're pretty prevalent.
But for me, it's like, what do you do when you go north? Like, I know you're familiar with Ontario. What do you do when you go north of like highway? Like once you hit 11, you know what I mean? Once 400 turns into 11.
Yeah, we take 11 all the time. My wife's from North Bay. So.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. So getting up there is fine. I've never taken the Tesla up there because, quite frankly, we go with our family, and there's, I need that.
Need the more space.
We need the space, but I think it'll be fine. The thing about Tesla is, the map won't let you drive. Like if you plug in your address, it tells you where to get off to charge. So it'll say you cannot make it to North Bay unless you stop in Huntsville.
At this place,
Yeah, so it tells you the supercharger's in Huntsville.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's good. That's good. Great technology.
This is what I said yesterday about this. Thank you, David, for this. Someone was like, "Oh, we need to see Adara trading." And I was like, "No, we do not." And not because she's not a great trader, because of this exact fact here. She's so fast at hitting the news and the analysis that this is. One of and he loves the green there. So Dave loves the green. He loves everything that Adara has been doing, and so do we. And we always talk about that.
Someone catching a
thank you so much for the super chat.
Say thank you to Adara.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Adara, for that one. And I'm trying to get. my Stream Deck isn't up. We have that thank you, Adara button.
Thank you, Adara.
Thank you, David, for the nice words. And yeah, I mean, we understand that value over there for sure.
For sure.
You want to look at Gap?
Yeah, we could take a look at Gap. Yeah, I was going to talk some upgrades
I
and
just been
downgrades
talking
here.
about it.
But
You can do whatever you want.
we could do whatever. Hey, man, it's our world. Gap. I don't know how I feel about it, man. You guys know where
It's not gapping, is it?
It's definitely, well, maybe to the downside, if anything here. You guys know how I feel about these retail names, guys, to be honest with you. It's just not something that I would put my money to work. Like, I don't even know what's going on right here. This is absolutely disastrous, if you ask me. And I mean, I'm just giving it to you straight, to be honest with you. I don't want to mislead you in any form of a way, because I just don't think this is a space where I think it's logical to deploy a good amount of cash. If you wanted to have as a small couple of percentage points, then by all means. But do you want to own, and I talked about this yesterday, where to the tune of like, hey, if you have the most popular brand struggling all the time, do you really want to own it? Like, so, I mean, here it is. When was the last time it peaked? 2014. So you're over a decade. It's still down 26%. Now, I mean, from a capital appreciation standpoint, it's not there. But if you're looking to collect an 18-cent dividend on an $18 name, then by all means, buy as many.
4%.
Yeah, which is not bad.
No.
Right? 4% isn't bad.
You said it was down how much in a decade?
75%. Like,
Yeah, so the
I
gap-
mean,
so the dividend is
it's not like it's, again, we can head over to, it was like UBRN was or URBM.
Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, Urban Outfitters was one of the better performing, like, out of these retail names. So what does that say? Like, this one's at the all-time, like, but again, man, I just don't like it. I think there's other places where you can deploy your
3% dividend
cash.
in Target, and Target's chart is going the other way.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't horrible, right? Like, Urban Outfitters is maybe onto something, but you really have to scroll through some of these names and find where the strength is, because if you buy the Nikes, you buy the Lululemons, you buy the Gaps, you're just sitting on dead money for quite some time, and I think you can put it a lot better places. Even though you may experience a little bit more risk, I think it's worth it at the end of the day to just maybe avoid that's just me, not financial advice. I don't want to own any clothing brand, because think about it, when people run out of disposable income, what are the first things that they're going to cut? Like, do you need that new t-shirt? Do you need those new pair of shoes? Do you need those new pants? I don't know. I think that's a question a lot of people have asked us, but when we always talk about consistently a weakening consumer and the higher end consumer just holding on and really driving the market, well, the lower end consumers be shopping at I wouldn't say Lululemons, but the Nikes. And if the Lululemon is a middle class for the middle class individual, or whatever you would like to call it, then by all means, this is not a space that I like whatsoever. I know I've repeated that countless times, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, that's look, Gap. The retail spot is interesting. You know, XRT, a retail ETF that you guys can definitely take a look at. And we talked about how well Target's been performing, in Walmart on the pullback as well. So thank you so much. And there it is. Colin the Only there does second the Adara vibes. And yeah, I mean that's all part of it. Yeah, there you go, Adara. So yeah, thank you for everybody for all the love that continues to happen here. We're going to be missing Sharif, so it'll be, I believe, Brendan maybe on the desk as Adara, as Sharif will be gone, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's the one and the only coming through at some point as well. We have a great, and the reason why we drop all those names, we have a bunch of great people working here, and we're very proud of what we've been able to develop here at Trader TV Live. So thank you so much, everybody continuing to watch. Let's go back over to the aforementioned Adara and Sharif, or no, we will not. Joe, quickly, going from my right to over my shoulder now, and we're going to go upgrades and downgrades at the big desk with Joe.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. The banks catching hands, Sharif, as a lot of downgrades here by Oppenheimer. I mean, we can kick things off with Citigroup, guys, going from an outperform to a market perform here. Now, once again, you're down 0.5%, all of them in the red. Bank of America going from outperform to market perform as well, too, here by Oppenheimer. Same analyst giving the same downgrade almost here. Perform to underperform at Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs, we like to call it, perform to underperform, you're down 0.4%. Those are your downgrades, but once again, the bank's starting to report in a couple of weeks, guys, so keeping a lookout for them, stating that some of the valuations are not justifiable. Now, as for some of the upgrades, we were looking at Comcast. via options route. Rosenblatt giving them the nod, guys, going from a neutral to a buy with a 2.3% gain bright and early this morning. A $31 price target. That's up from $24. Now, Fox here, guys, for all our motocross individuals, you're down 1.16%, going from an underperform to a neutral weight with a $24 price target. That's up from $20 of B of A. And then we have Watts Water. I know you like the water plays here, Sean. You're up 1 1/3 this morning, equal weight to an overweight, and a $414 price target. That's up from $317. And then we have Fortune Browns up 2.4% bright and early. Hold to a buy is the upgrade, and a $70 price target. That's up from $45 by Truist. Let's send it back to the desk.
Yeah, no, water. I like water. We talked about PHO was a good little look at. Actually, we didn't even have that one. I was going to look at Comcast, actually. So, yeah, PHO is a good with water ETF. I like that one. Watts, WTS, again, near the highs. I mean, I think here, let's talk about that. Before I do that, though, this was Comcast. I actually think that, we talked about, you just mentioned Gap there and some of the names that have been beat up in the past. The Comcast is just another one of those names. We saw what's been happening with the space in general, right? Paramount, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was like a $30 name that dropped down to $8 and then got the bids back up to where it is today. But Comcast, again, unveiling some of their plans to spin off. That was a big story in the last couple of days. Right back up to these levels, looking to break through 25.50. I think once it does, then you do get some nice upside movement and a potential up to $28. So I think Comcast with some good feels now on back-to-back days. Another 3% today. CMCSA, a good one there. Here's Watts Water. I mean, it's again another upgrade. Looks pretty smooth to me. There it is, up to 375. Hit down a little bit, 360. What a good move there. As Waters needs to be. We talked about it. You guys. I think it was some of you was it Atlanta or somewhere was mentioning that some of the data centers that have been built there have created a little bit of lower, maybe it wasn't Atlanta, but lower water pressure in the area. And there's been a little bit of a lack of water being able to be contained in some of these areas where there's been some big construction and, data center usages because of the cooling systems and whatnot. So I really like water, and it's a matter of getting into it. And I think it's about time to pull the trigger on some of these before they really start to take off. So WTS, maybe a name to look at as you do some research into water. And this was faux. This is just, it's not the soup or anything like that. This is an Invesco exchange-traded water fund. So, trying to figure out which names are in these and, what it means and what is the best water ETF. And maybe you guys can let me know in the chat if I'm thinking that water is going to be, stock like Nestle or something like that, more on the consumer side. But if we're going to talk about, hydro and power and all that, what is a good name to talk about? WTS looks like it's been performing quite well and might be one to stick with. So maybe put in the chat some different names and we can discuss those together, because I am looking to invest into the space. And hey, man, maybe if we get into it, we'll talk about it more, which is good for all of us. So, all right, it's 8:57. Let's go back to the desk and see what they're up to.
Yeah, well, I guess get the rundown started in a bit. Before we do that, I apologize, Sean, for being not on the rundown, but I did want to talk Tesla. So we'll mention SpaceX while we're here before we get into that rundown. TSLA and SpaceX, I joked a little bit yesterday on the show and also on X at TTV Research. It was like a late birthday gift for Elon. His birthday was on Sunday. Tesla closes 8% higher. SpaceX closes 7% higher yesterday. But TSLA, quite the run. We do have deliveries and focus coming up too, Shreve.
We do, Adira. The market is expecting 406,024 vehicles for this quarter. It's being framed as a demand recovery story driven by sequential bounces in both China and Europe. But we also have to look at the full year picture to get to the full picture. The compiled full year 2026 consensus has been quietly slashed by about 35,000 cars. So now they're expecting for full year 1.654 million total cars. That's barely a 1.1% increase year over year. Let's talk about their international markets, right? Because that's single-handedly keeping things afloat, because the domestic market's not doing that well. So international numbers, positive catalyst, there's no question about it. But Cox automotive data reveals Tesla's domestic Q2 U.S. sales are on track for a 20% 6% year-over-year decline, shrinking their U.S. market down about 2.9%. A lot of that is being blamed, of course, on the cancellation of the $7,500 EV tax credit. But let's also talk about in Q1 of this year, Tesla built 408,386 cars. Well, how many did they sell? 358,023 cars. That's a backlog of over 50,000 cars. So I'm going to be looking specifically at this quarter's deliveries to see how many they produced versus how many they delivered, because that's going to be a big thing as well. And last but not least, the Model S, the Model X, Cybertruck, and the semis. All those combined are dropping down now to 12,978. That's down almost 20% year over year now. Two of those models are canceled. We know the Cybertruck's not selling well, and then the semi is just getting going. So a little bit of caveat there, Dara. But let's see how they come out.
Yeah, lots to consider here. We're going to look at futures in just a minute. In the meantime, though, I want to let you guys know some news coming out of the Middle East. I-24 reporting that Israel is preparing for possible immediate resumption of military operations against Iran. Every time we think we have some semblance of a ceasefire here, it looks like things unfortunately heat right back up. But we're going to heat things up here with our rundown, starting with a look at the futures.
We took 740 again yesterday, guys. 741.
Oh, you're muted.
We took 740 again yesterday, guys. So 741 on the dot is where we closed out. The overnight high rejecting that 742.5. We're holding 741 right now. We are literally flat right now on the SPY. So here's the deal. We're going to look for 740 as our first area of support. If that fails, we're going to look to 735. If we start catching a bid, we're looking at that 745 area as resistance.
We're also going to look towards our Trader TV Live watch list. It is free, F-R-E-E free. It comes right to your inbox every single day as long as you subscribe, which again is free to do. How do you subscribe, you may ask? You can use that URL on your screen. You can also click the link in the description in the video. It provides you with insights on what stocks to look at, what earnings are coming up or happened the night before, the morning of. It gives you a look at economic events. So much content. You can get it all for free. Let's take a look at the top name, or I think second name actually, on the watch list today. That was AVAV. A little bit of a pullback from highs, but great reaction to a generally pretty strong earnings report here from AeroVironment.
There it is. You're right, but there are things that we have to dig into a little bit over here. So let's talk with the main numbers, right? So we're talking about a top line revenue beat of $641.6 million and EPS of $1.84 per share. All right, so that's the good news. The bad news is the EPS outlook is a little light, and there's a reason for that. So let's talk about the company's real unadjusted bottom line. Despite the record non-GAAP earnings beat, they actually logged a massive GAAP net loss of $265 million for the full fiscal year. And that was almost entirely driven by a $240 million goodwill impairment charge because the U.S. government completely terminated their SCAR defense program, Streamlined Contract Awards. That's what SCAR stands for, okay? So management heavily emphasized they wanted to also tell you that they've got $1.2 billion in funded backlog. What they don't say, though, is the regulatory notes, anyway, disclose a massive contraction because of the cancellation of the SCAR program. It forced AVAV to completely erase an additional $1.5 billion in previously reported unfunded backlog. So keep that in mind. And last but not least, we're talking about cheering the company's ability to meet immediate growth demand. But what we're not talking about is the CapEx that they're going to have to spend to meet that growing demand. They're boosting it from 5% of total revenue from last year. They're going to 12 to 14%, Adara. A bit of a risk here, but the demand seems to be insatiable.
Are you guys feeling insatiable demand to trade AVAV today?
No, I'm just looking at like a lot of the analyst actions here. It's mixed bag, really, Katina, man. Nothing crazy. You're getting a price target here, raising a target over there. Canaccord Genuity cutting price from $300 to $280. So I don't believe that's anything to write home about. UBS cutting price target from 172 down to 162. So I mean, hey, and then maintains price target of 205 at BTIG Research. It's just the name that we don't typically talk about too often. I believe it was one of Neil's picks. We could take a look at it from a daily and see what we got cooking up on this end of things. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty ugly if you ask me there, Sean. More than 50% at the lows from peak to the local low here. You get a 67% haircut. So makes things a little bit more difficult as an investor.
Yeah, no, I'm just getting my sticky note.
Yeah,
ready to
man,
go
you
here,
get
and
the
we'll,
sticky note. Get the
no,
sticky
we'll
note
talk
ready.
about this. There it is. I got email.
You got AV. You got.
Yeah, no, look, I didn't like that last little part there. That's in the note that the FY guide their EPS between 302 to 334, well below estimates of 4. So I think it was, the government contracts there, as we mentioned, their little cancellation. I still think drones. I mean, we talk about what the world's going to look like as we move forward, and all you hear about, I mean, that drone that hit that U.S. ship. I mean, it was a one-way drone there, and it's just like that's a way for some of these other nations to battle the high expense and the high budget that the U.S. has, and many of these first world sort of strong military power nations can afford to put money into the planes and any kind of equipment that's much heavier than a simple drone manufacturer. So I think that there is a runway for this name, but honestly, as we had mentioned, it is a pick that Neil had made. And since then, it's just been a bad year for AVAV. Now, will it eventually get back up to 380? I have no idea, but that's where it was, and this is where it is. So you've just dropped down from its highs right there of 3, even higher than that, 415 or something, to where we were at its lows just a couple of days ago, 64% to the downside. So it's been a horrendous year for AVAV, and sometimes you do get these relief rallies. But I'm kind of with you, Joe, and I think that if I was a buyer of this name down here, then that's a great windfall. But other than that, Sharif kind of nailed it. Is in the last 2 weeks, that's all we've done is cover it right back up. They had some horrendous movement before this earnings call, and I wonder if this is people that rode this short down, and now you're getting a lot of short covering into AVAV. And before I throw it back, because we are getting a little bit on in time, but we still have enough. AV, I just want to see what the short float is on this name exactly. And that way, yeah, so 12.5%. So I feel like that is pretty much what's happening now, is you're getting a cover. So you're there, I'll just zoom in, you guys can see. Oops, maybe zoomed into, okay, now it's out of control. There it is right there, 12.5% on the short float side of things. So yeah, Aero Environment just getting a bump. It was up 35% at its highs, now back down to 28%. Is there a chance for it to wait for it to come back into 170, the 200 period moving average? It's on earnings. We say, when there's a gap, we trade it back to VWAP. So right now we're underneath it. So we think we can get back to 185, see the action there. If we hold, great. We probably break through 190. If not, we use that as our anchor and start to play off of that to the short side. So AVAV, great quarter, great action. Congratulations to anybody that bought in the last 2 weeks. But if you bought it any time before then, I'm sorry, as it just continues to make new moves. And the chart doesn't look like it wants to go quite yet. So AVAV, on to talk number 2. And I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about with these chip names. You can not just pick one name. There's many names to discuss here in the sector. Let's go find out what they want us to talk about. It's the chip names today.
Yeah, there's so many, I couldn't even begin to choose. There's a lot of different ways to take this. We had some analyst notes on the likes of AMD and AVGO. We had SMCI on watch after yesterday's big fall in the latest probe. And what angle do you want to discuss here, Sharif?
Great. I'm going to take the AMAT angle, Derek, because they had a couple of analyst upgrades today. So let's talk about those. Cantor Fitzgerald, the first of the bunch here, boosting the price target from 550 to 850, maintaining the overweight rating, and calling Applied Materials one of its preferred equipment names alongside Lam Research as well as KLA. And they also opined on ASML, calling it or predicting they're going to have one of the strongest beats in the group's history. That is a big statement there. KeyBank also chiming in today, reiterating their overweight rating and boosting the price target from 550 to 750, kind of reinforcing their continued confidence, Adara, in the wafer fabrication spending. But these semiconductor names, all sorts of strong.
Yeah, I want to mention SMCI one more time here, though, for those who missed it. It was on our watch list this morning as well. This dropped 8% on Monday. Bloomberg reporting that Taiwanese authorities raided their offices and related sites as part of an investigation into the Nvidia AI chip smuggling. So SMCI in focus not looking so strong. The other plays, though, doing quite well. Which area of Chiplandia, as I've heard it called here, you guys most interested in?
Chiplandia.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
The water's warm in Chiplandia.
Yeah. So it's definitely warm in Applied Materials. Sharif and I talk about this name quite often. I mean, if we're talking a $900 price target, which an analyst is giving it as a potential target, then that's another 30% of where we're currently sitting at right now. I mean, it's $700, 706 to be exact, all the way up to 900, another 30%. Now, I mean, if we're talking about the trickle-down effect and following the money of where the hyperscalers are spending it all, I think this is pretty close to the damn beginning, right? Like you fall into the Caterpillars of the world, and then you get involved with the applied materials. So things are looking really good. We talk about ASML, and then the Lam Research, as Sharif mentioned as well too. So I've liked applied materials. It's unfortunate that I don't own any, but as of September of 2025 to where we're currently trading at right now, guess how much percent we're up here, Katina, man, from September of last year to where we're currently trading at in applied materials?
Yeah, no, it's
Are you not going to guess?
Oh, what was the question?
How much we're up in applied materials from September of last year?
September of last year?
Yeah, Sharif said 107.
Oh, 140.
Try 355%.
355%. Yeah, wow. Okay, yeah. A name that I don't own, but wow, what a beast.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, like there's been so many of those names like that, like the Microns of this world, as a memory side of things. But that one just as a, I mean, Caterpillar would be, you mentioned that. I mean,
want to take a look at Caterpillar?
No, because we're talking about chips.
Why?
We can look at Caterpillar. That's probably something similar as a percentage, that how much that's gone up. I wrote down here, look, the only name that I have on here, and it's a chalk name, right? It's going to be Nvidia, and the reason why I think it's worth a look is because we're at that $200 level again. And I wrote down 190. The sticky note's now out, by the way. I wrote down 195. So it just, if it comes back in, and we traded this yesterday, we got in and out of it as it didn't hold. It was one of our, we're right into here. We basically tried the day's low or the pre-market low, and when that didn't hold, we got out of it, which thankfully we did, as it just cracked back into 190 again before closing in and around 195. So I want to use that sort of 195 area where we couldn't break through all day yesterday. So now we've easily broke through it. We're higher now into 198, right? And then as we zoom back over and we see what's been happening, we've just come right back in now, and we'll see if we can fall into the lap of 195. All right, so if we're able to get long on 195 real early, again, we'll try that trade, and then we'll drop it, right? If this is what ends up happening, we'll drop it. And then the only thing that I think I messed up yesterday a little bit and just stop looking at these names, and that is exactly that, stop looking at them. I think you gotta look at the Intels of the world, the Nvidias of the world, the AMDs, Marvell, all these names every single day just because of the getup that they can have. If the Nasdaq's going to rebound, I mean, we saw yesterday Marvell was up about 20, was it more than $20 from its low? Whoopsies, my chart. Ooh, I thought my chart was going to crash there. This here, whoops, yeah, something's going on there. There's the move down yesterday, very, very dramatic. Again, right where we are right now, right? 275-ish to start the day, down to 250, and then just look at this get up on the way back up. But what I was sort of getting at there with the Nvidia trade was, as soon as you drop it based on something, so if you went long Marvell and you said, you know what, I'm going to get out if it breaks this 263 area. Well, what about when it comes back in and retakes that level, right? That exact same level there was held again after it danced around a bit, and then that got you going to the upside. So that's very, very similar to what happened yesterday in Nvidia, right? Once that level broke and we were able to get out of our short, out of our long for a loss, right into here, even if you're using this level, whatever kind of level, I think we were actually using this yesterday, but once it comes back up and retakes those levels, that's when you can re-push the long, because right into there's the low in the pre-market, and there it is holding again at noon, and that gave you that sort of launching pad. And yesterday, the biggest hit P&L-wise for me, and we still wound up having a fine day, was Intel. And that name, I thought 130 was going to be a good short, and obviously it took off to the downside there real early, and we didn't have the short. And then when it came back up into those levels, I retried the short. I tried it for the first time right in there at 130 before that blew up to the upside again. So it's just like to stand in front of some of the momentum of these names can be quite ridiculous. But I still like that trade. Like I'll take that trade over again. Like if it comes back from this kind of a move right back into the pre-market highs, I will try to short that. So just a stock like Intel, look at that little bump we just had. Maybe I should have wrote this down, Joe. 130 on Intel actually is probably a better long than that Nvidia 195. So yeah, darn it, could have added that one. I like Intel down there at 130. That's actually a pretty good look. I'm gonna have that on the radar.
I like the NVDA 195 play as well too. Nice support system.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to give some ideas here, and I think that,
and
that's the thing. Like, these are ideas. Pick and choose it. Yesterday, our idea was SpaceX long 154. We tried it until it broke. Then we went short and made it all back, including more. And then it broke through 160 to the upside.
Yeah.
So 2 of those ideas worked yesterday. But you never know what's going to work today.
And phase is going to be on the corner of my eye. We don't typically trade it too much here, but I do like the look of this one bright and early this morning. I know we're going to go back to the desk here. $52. If that holds or breaks down, I think there's going to be a long or a short opportunity, as obvious as that may sound.
I want to, Tony there in the chat. I just want to say, what's up, Tony? I remember everything that Joe and I'm always trying to talk about things as a day trade, like as a trade that we're going to be making today, like a scalper's paradise or whatever, and a name that could move a certain direction, right? So I actually do believe, and I've been selling some Intel up here and some of these other names. Like I told you, we sold some Marvell. We've been selling some AMD as well. I do think that they've just been really heated up. And when you get stocks that heated, they probably are due.
Not tomorrow's trade today.
Due for, not next quarter's trade today. But,
exactly.
Hey, look, could Intel go higher from here? Of course it could.
Yeah, of course. I think so.
Could they all? Yes. But I do believe that, if an Nvidia gets back up to that 220, Nvidia's a forever hold for me. That's a little bit of a different story. But yeah, some of these names have been beat up where I think you can start to add a little bit into a name like Nvidia, maybe sell some Intel, buy some Nvidia, things like that. There could be a little bit of a switch trade happening there.
Oh man, no, farm trader, it doesn't matter. Like, I understand it's just such a temporary boost in sales, in my opinion. All right. When it comes to retail, let's go back over there.
Let's take a look at crypto. Speaking of temporary moves, it seems like crypto would have this nice, gallivant to the upside, led, I think, in part by MSTR and some announcements made pre-market yesterday. But MSTR and other crypto plays right back to the downside, Sharif, below 60K again.
Yeah, there was no gallivanting here, Adara. $231.1 million in net outflows out of the spot ETFs yesterday, with IBIT accounting for basically the great majority of that. Over $300 million left IBIT. It was kept to 241 because there were net inflows into ARKB, and GBTC. So keeping that from being even worse. It's basically the sentiment's weakened here after Strategy reported it could sell more than $1 billion worth of Bitcoin as a new monetization program. That's a notable shift, of course, from Saylor's long-held buy and hold narrative. Despite the outflows, ETFs, the spot ETFs that is, still hold about $73.2 billion in net assets. This is an institutional kind of thing versus possible profit taking. We've been talking a lot about this as money funneling in to the AI trade as well as other things, kind of leaving crypto behind here, Adara.
Yeah, we did have a green session yesterday for Bitcoin. Doesn't look like we're going to repeat it today. How do you guys feel about these crypto plays this morning?
I mean, Bitcoin was up 0.5%. MSTR was up 11% at one point with $2 billion share buyback program. Sells his preferred, buys more Bitcoin. The price of the preferred goes up. He sells a little bit more and buys more Bitcoin. So, I mean, there's obviously some more detail in between all of that. But a lot of people not liking this financial gibberish that Michael Saylor has established here and using it as a leverage play. I mean, we've seen Bitcoin up more and MSTR down less. So it's definitely a tough play. I have mentioned the fact that I wouldn't even buy Bitcoin at this point. I would buy MSTR if I did feel that we are going to go on a nice parabolic run and somehow manage to get back to the all-time highs in the next couple of years. That would be my route. Like, it's $80, and same thing with the BMNRs. It's just, as Sean was mentioning earlier, who wants to own it at this price, right? I mean, when things get ugly, I think that's a good time to start looking at them. But do you go all in and YOLO the play? I just think there's too much negative sentiment around the whole space right now. And I mean, structurally, nothing has changed. But what we see from bigger pictures is just, it's ugly. It's not a good look whatsoever. And where is that next level of support, right? Like, I get it. You have all the cryptocurrency advocates out here. But 30,000, I wouldn't take it off the books, to be honest with you, off the table, I should say. 45,000 even, to be honest. This is like a double head and shoulders pattern with a key support level. And if 50K loses, then you're going to see 40s and maybe even high 30s, in my opinion. And Michael Saylor's, what's his average price? 68,000, 70,000. So somewhere in the high 60s, low 70s. think about how much underwater he is right now. And then I actually pulled up a chart a couple of days ago of where he has bought Bitcoin and where his largest purchases have been. And it was only a couple of months ago, it was like his third largest purchase of Bitcoin. And it's like, all right, are you kind of rushing things here, just grabbing it everywhere and adding a couple dots to your plot? I don't know, man. It's a little bit tricky of a play. I understand what his objective is to issue digital credit, but you also need to be able to buy things with Bitcoin in order to do that, and we're just not at that stage yet.
Yeah, good analysis there, obviously, about BTC, and I kind of feel similar. And we ask each other, like, who's using Bitcoin? What are we using it for? And I think it has lost its way a little bit, but it could be found. And the fact that he's underneath the water on those coins right now is not a great sign. That is for sure. But yeah, man, we got a stop sign right here on IBIT today, 33.75. Waiting to see if we can retest the lows and then short that, right? So we're gonna. I mean, right now it already is retesting. It just retested that 33 mark right there. So now I'm wondering if we do get a little bit of a bounce higher there. I wrote down 33.75 is where the 200 period was, but that's going to be a level right into here that I looking at, right? I mean, yesterday we bounced off of that. It was the high. We couldn't get through it. And all of a sudden we bounced, make a nice move up, come back in, hold it, take off from there. And relatively strong close for IBIT yesterday as we get going there. And the market, remember, the NASDAQ was up 2.5% or so yesterday at the close, maybe 2.2%, but today they don't like it. So VWAP underneath, everything's starting to go down. We're just looking for an area to short. So right now we might have to even adjust that to 33.50 for IBIT. But as this market opens up, Joe and I'll be watching it. And I wrote down, a move back up into $36 would be something, sorry, 36, 60,000 would be a nice move there for IBIT.
Big 40. What's up, Big
All right,
40?
man, we got it was an espresso. Okay.
That's all right, man. We rock and roll.
There we go.
Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, my guy.
This is the benefits of sitting at this desk, man. High quality. Our boy Randy.
Yeah, Randy's always got us going
got
on.
it covered, man.
Thank Randy for that one. But yeah, Michael Saylor, maybe not buying any more luxury yachts on the back of
What do you mean? He just sold 32, so that's a
32 Bitcoin?
Yeah, so that's what it like. And think about the timing of it too, summer, right? So you got to get the new boat out on the water.
Yeah, but 32 Bitcoin is not even that many Bitcoins at this point.
For him, no, I'm just saying, but that's the boat. Like 32 out of his 800,000 Bitcoin is like chump change.
Yeah, that's maybe how much it costs.
But that's the boat.
To fuel the ride there at one point.
Fuel? That's crazy. That's what it's like.
Well, you know how much it costs to staff one of those boats if you're taking it anywhere? Plus the fuel, plus everything like that. Yeah, a Bitcoin, at least one.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. All right, let's go back over to the desk and see what's talking about here with Apple and Tata Motors.
Yeah, this Apple story is interesting. It actually came out yesterday during the day. It was this little wick to the downside here around 2:20 p.m. Not too much of a move on the stock immediately at the time, but lots to unpack here in this, leak here, breach of Tata, an Apple supplier.
This is a big deal, Adara. Massive darkware leak of over 200,000 files from the Apple and Tesla supplier. Tata is, of course, executed by a ransomware cartel called WorldLeaks. More on them in a minute. They've compromised highly sensitive blueprints, drop test photographs, and proprietary specs for the unreleased iPhone 18 Pro line. Let's talk about this, though, because at least 6 leaked spreadsheets map out hundreds of iPhone 18 Pro parts directly to their specific vendors, but crucially, the data explicitly highlights where Apple relies on one vendor and where they have multi-vendor hedge. That gives their competitors basically an insight into parts of the company they could never have known, and it gives them an advantage. So this is not really a consumer-facing problem. It is more a B2B competition problem here. Let's talk a little bit about WorldLeaks, because it's not just corporations who go through rebranding. They did as well. They optimized basically their 2025-2026 rebranding of the notorious Hunters International ransomware group. Rather than deploying, a heavy network-wide encryption to halt factory assembly lines, they went directly into the data parts of their system. They didn't really want to interrupt anything to do with their operations. They were just looking for data. And this is important because India is projected to command 26% of the global iPhone production this year. That is up from, I believe, just 6% 4 years ago. So having Apple's top tier unreleased hardware secrets leak from this specific region gives ammunition right back to the Chinese lobbyists who say you can't trust the Indians or Tata with this. Come back to us. So it's a very, very big deal here for Apple. Let's see how they handle it.
Yeah, I mean, Apple's certainly going to be on watch with this story again. Came out yesterday. Certainly, I think a longer-term catalyst for sure for Apple as well to be aware of. Let's talk about Micron here too. Thank you to Darwin for dropping this in the chat. Just pulled this up. This just came out about a minute ago. Micron announcing a $250 million investment in these Trump accounts. It's going to apparently reach 1 million children. You know, the Trump accounts officially launching on July 4th in honor of Independence Day. Micron adding to this. We know Dell, a massive investor here as well in this. How do you guys feel about Apple?
So, I mean, I have it written down here as another play on our list of 283 long. So it's going to be a sticky note play for me. I'm getting the urge of actually shorting maybe the market today. So I'm not 100% sure if this Apple long will even hit. Remember, we write down these ideas like an hour and a half ago. And now the market just lost its pre-market level right there. So here we go, man. We're going to retest 30,000. We're breaking, there it is. We just broke 30,000 right there on the market. So that's not great. But what I wrote down there for Apple, and you know, yesterday we had that talk about how they're thinking about using some different memory, trying to go to some Chinese companies to sort of curb some of the costs that they've been talking about there. And we saw a big hit of Apple recently, you know, from their highs of about 315 back down into 270, 280 right now. So they've been getting hit on the daily chart as well. And that, again, the cost is going to be passed on to the consumer. So does that mean that maybe we wait a couple more cycles before we start upgrading? Because if prices can come down in some of the components, then potentially, you know, the iPhone 19 or 20 will be less than the 18 or whatever it is as we start to move forward and think about how much these units are going to cost. I think it was $100 or $200 more per unit that they were looking to pass on, and that's not going to be good. Although I think the consumers eventually, you know, suck that up and buy them. But look, there's 283 right here. So I'm going to take a long on a break because we'll have view up underneath. We'll have all of our support levels hovering here, and we should be able to get some price action northbound here on Apple. The fact that it's not moving like the market right now, the market's bumping a little bit, but the fact that we're not getting that movement makes me think that Apple is a little strong there. So I'm going to watch out for 283. If you like the short, it's the same level. So 283 here for Apple, a bump up of $1 gets me into that short. I like the play. We may be having a little bit of a bump up here because of the imbalances. So let's have a quick look to see what's going on here. They just came out. There's SpaceX. That's going to be a big stock for us. We're waiting for 160. It just bounced off 160. So that's going to be a good one. IBIT a sell. There's Nvidia with a buy. Some of the names that we like for longs here are actually kicking out. So not too bad. Microsoft's with the buy side. And yesterday's beat up name as they got invaded, not invaded. What's the word? SMCI. Raided. Invaded and raided. Their offices got invaded by the raiders. And that was it. So SMCI with a little bit of a buy there today. Back up 1.1. Actually, we should have talked about SMCI a little bit.
We should have talked about
today.
it.
All right, so any thoughts on Apple? Then we got Uber.
Yeah, I mean, Qualcomm TSM affected by this as well, too, obviously, because of the components that they create within the Apple devices. We talk about memory storage prices continuing to increase. Now that's being passed on to the consumer. So do we all love it? Not necessarily, especially if things are going to be more and more expensive. Now, as for the iPhone 18, will I be upgrading? I don't think so, Sean, to be honest with you. I don't. I'm okay with the 16, but who knows? I'm not going to roll anything out. Will I be getting the foldable? Sharif showed me the potential model of it. Yeah, I'm not in love with it.
Wider.
It's wider, right? Which I think might be a little bit more difficult to text, but that doesn't mean it won't. I won't change my mind. Just in case if it's like that new device, I have no issues.
Well, the technology will be good. The screen will be good. You know, the function of it.
So the key thing is, I remember with, sorry to interrupt you, but with the Chinese foldables, what was a really big concern was the crease in the middle. So what engineers worked on over time is how many times can you open and close it before you actually start to see the crease displayed. And some of the higher end models was like 250,000 open and close before you even seen any form of which is huge, right?
Yeah, that would be a lot of opening and closing of your phone.
But I mean, think about it. Is it though? Like, think about how many people.
Yes.
If you're on it, if you're on
250,000.
Yeah, man.
So divide that by 365.
Well, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, exactly.
1,000 times a day.
Yeah.
I don't think
1,000 times a day, no.
Well, that's what the math
But over
is.
the lifespan, you would probably do it a lot, especially people who are.
I mean, I don't think it's
But that's the point, though. It's a lot, right? So it's not something that you have to worry about.
We have 2 minutes. Thank you, Diane. We also Joe's here with me for 4 more days.
Man,
so it should be
5 actually.
a lot of fun. 4 more days. Yeah, we have Friday off. And
then back on Monday
with me. So thank you. We all get it. We all get along great here, and it's been a great time. So let's go back over to the desk. 1 minute left. We'll talk a little bit about Uber, and then we'll see what happens after this market opens up.
Uber, another one with a story that came through yesterday afternoon, this time involving their Waymo partnership, but it's a little bit more detailed than some initial headlines made it seem.
Yeah, we'll just cover the basics here. They're ending their partnership, their fleet partnership in Phoenix. Doesn't mean they're ending their relationship entirely. They're continuing to operate in other markets, but there are speculative stories here that Waymo may be redirecting its cars, not internally to the Waymo app, but to a competitor. Of course, we are talking about who are we talking about? We're talking about DoorDash here as well as Lyft. So we'll have to see if that actually pans out. But Uber's been aggressively, of course, diversifying its autonomous vehicle strategy through partnership. They kind of want to be that hub. So you make the technology, then come use our platform. We've got the users. Let's see how this works out here.
Yeah, keep an eye on Uber as we head into that opening bell. Good luck to all. How are you guys doing as we prepare for this bell, Sean and Joe?
I mean, we're doing all right. I'm just doing a little relaxing over here. We'll see what winds up happening in this market. I do have some bids on SpaceX right now. So just to talk about, what we're prepared for. So I'm going to try to bid that 160. I am bidding 160. So that comes in 160 and a quarter right now for that. I'm looking at Apple to go. I mean, you can find these all on the note. It's up right there at TraderTV Sean on X. Looking for Apple to break 283. Looking for an IBIT move back to 60,000 if that does happen. And looking at a 195 for NVDA. So all these orders are now in. They're ready to rock and roll. We're excited for it. Apple's had to move down, so not sure we're going to be getting anything on that one. And remember, we do have issues sometimes with our quotes right off the jump. So just going to give this a little bit of a look right now. And there it is. So Michael, I have something to report right now. It seems a lot better today for our quotes switching. So there goes NVIDIA right back into 195. So this is what we're looking for here, Joe. We both mentioned that we don't mind a and now my quotes won't change. Yeah, now we're struggling a little bit with the quotes. But yeah, NVIDIA and Apple. Oh, here it comes down to 195. So I like to put a bid in on this right now. So hopefully we can get that opportunity. But right now, quotes a little down for us. But there goes NVIDIA right into 195.
Yeah, to the downside. I got my eyes on N-phase, guys. It's giving up the support level. That's a good fade here. I know we have NVDL up here, so we're going to wait for a potential bounce. But SpaceX up to 165, SMCI not doing too much. I'm going to allow that one to cool down. It's pretty choppy at most times, but what we can find potentially is a curl over and then maybe a continuation to the southeast. But as for NENPH,
there goes Apple.
There goes Apple. Where's it going, Katina, man?
We'll see. I mean, it just took that 283, so that's a level that we wanted.
Oh, okay, you're long.
We like this level. This was a top name that we wanted to trade in. Of course, we don't really like when these things break first thing in the morning off of a move like that in the first 1 minute because, we put it down as a level that we like. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of exuberance there once that starts to hit. So let's give it a little bit of room. It was down at 281. Already today, so potentially not the greatest level there. But here comes NVIDIA, man, and oh boy, you've almost got $1 already there on NVIDIA. And there it goes, man. There's your face slapper of the day to start with. There's 195. There's reasons why we put this down on the sticky note, and we took it there at 195. The first take there at the pre-market lows of 195.75. The next take right there at 195 and a quarter as up jumps the boogie right now for my boy NVIDIA and Jensen. And now we just got to wait for Apple. So two trades marked down on the note today. We've got both of them. Let's just see if they want to work out. But it's right now, there it is. It's your first trade of the day.
Okay.
We're now multiple dollar. We're at $1.50 now in the money on a good trade for NVIDIA right there. And that's what it was. We had it marked down 195 long on the super note. As it continues to go higher. And there it goes right there, Apple. Joe, that's daily goal met right there.
Done. Go home. Call it a day.
I can, man. We have some chemistry. People
a couple days more.
All right. Stay here.
Let's see what we got on N-phase. All right, that's what I'm talking about right there, my boy.
Wow, okay.
But you got N-phase there?
Just keep going, Joe.
All right, what do you mean? All right, brother, I can do that. Spread a little hefty here on ENPH, but some good signals off of the lows. I mean, way to start things off. We'll take almost just 50 cents just like that. I know Katina Man's got two face slappers on there, but we have to be cautious in all seriousness,
Man,
guys.
$2.
There's going to be a liquidity issue here bright and early. Even though we got 1.9 million shares, I want this spread to tighten up, to be honest with you. Like a quarter is quite a bit, in my opinion. You're just instantly OTM, and if it breaks $51, that's $1 that I've given this, and I don't want to give it too much room. Our primary objective is going to be heading back towards the volume-weighted average price, but the way it's looking right now could be a little troublesome. But someone said, Joe, keep your eyes on DRAM as we might break through some pre-market highs. We got NVDA climbing back up to 198. That's a positive sign. And then we also have SpaceX holding up relatively well. So let's see if we can get this end phase trade for us to work. We were up 11% at one point here, Katina Man, but it's not looking like I'm going to get out relatively quick. Especially we don't want to hold on to our losers for too long. No. Especially if, I mean, we had a hot day yesterday. We can start things off really bad to start this day as end phase just absolutely tanks. And once again, when you're playing with these spready takers, guys, you got to be cautious. So a hefty hit right out of the gate.
I'm sorry about that, but you'll get it back for sure. Yeah, we're 250 now in the money on Nvidia, and again, it's just about having the preparation and taking that risk on when you see it. There's Nvidia 195 long. We liked it from yesterday's support, but now it's right back up into the pre-market levels of 198. So for $3, we're going to take that. There it goes. We've actually got 2 times our goal now. As there goes Nvidia. There goes Apple. Just ticking a little higher. I don't know where this is going to go, but look at the market. Man, the market really just absolutely blasted off to the high side right there. So yeah, man, 284. It looks like we just bounced off 283.50 again there. Maybe Apple doesn't have the juice. Let me offer 25s here. And wow. Now we're almost in $3 land here. I'm going to take another out on. There you go. I might as well take a 96 now out on Nvidia, and there it goes, man. I mean, this is it. So it's basically a wrap right there for me on the day. Now that's $3. That's wow.
Apple going?
No, man, it's just Nvidia now $3, man, as we get into that Lambo.
Yesterday I had NVDA. Today you have NVDA. I should have just took it again.
You know what? Nah, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Well, like I said, the other thing about it too, Joe, is that remember you said I like that 195 Nvidia. Remember
I did. I did.
And
it came into 195.17.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where, I'm long at the quarters right now. I always like to bid a quarter ahead of things. Like I was at SpaceX 160 and a quarter.
Fair enough.
There we go for Nvidia, absolutely blasting higher right now. Just so people know, I only have 20% left of this trade. And even for Apple, we have, sorry about that. Nvidia's 25% left. It's Apple with 20% left because Apple I'm not as convinced of.
Okay.
It's not necessarily going yet with this kind of a huge move. Like that's nice because of where we started. We actually went down to 281 for some reason and then started ripping back to the upside. But look at what this NASDAQ is doing, really just taking names today. So Apple, see how it's falling back down in? So, the Spidey sense is going. I'm going to try to drop off some of this Apple. So there it goes. We'll clean out the Apple, and we'll just move on because now we're 350 in the money over here. And this is the one that we have many more shares on. So we'll go 191, 198.60, and there it goes Nvidia, just to start off with a small little $4 winner to start the day. And it's a good one. So boom, shagalaga, as we said yesterday, shablamo. Nice move to the upside right now. Okay, we're going to hold this Apple. Honestly, let's just put the stop in right now. 282.50. I don't have anything left. I have under 10% left of this trade right now on Apple. So if it wants to mature up and we can give us that 284, then fine. But other than that, let's just see what winds up happening. We're playing with house money now, so that'll be all good. But yeah, so far so good there today. With what we've been doing. And SpaceX is the name that we've been really riding the hot coattails on lately, and that's trying to break 3 days high as well of 166.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Some good stuff, man. That's what we want to see right out of the gate. I got my eyes on SpaceX. I actually removed the end phase off of my list. I'm like, it's not a name that I typically trade. And I know if I take my first entry on it and it doesn't work, that spread is pretty ugly, sitting at around 30 cents. So that's just not the like of my style, to be honest with you. So let's see what happens here with SpaceX. We're just going back to the regulars. I mean, AMD's strong here today, back up to 559. We have DRAM breaking through some pre-market highs. And then now we got SpaceX on our mind as well. There's a good opportunity maybe to post up at 164.55 or right at 164 flat to see if we get that pullback towards the volume-weighted average price. And then we hold that level and get a continuation on yesterday's red-hot session. There goes AMD. Oh, no. Should have grabbed it as you have that upsloping trend here, guys, that bull flag starting to form. And then off to the races it is. I would use via AMDL. Even though yesterday I mentioned that we do run into some liquidity issues, but look at this pre-market break at 72.50 here on DRAM, now printing 73.40s, so a really good look on that front. But now we're starting to come back in here on SpaceX. Where is that level where we can find some potential support, Katina Man? Maybe around that 162 marker. I'm going to keep an eye out for any indecision prints for us to find a potential long on SPCX.
Yeah, I was trying to find names that maybe are halting around. We have that gem right there, 707 Cayman Holdings coming through again. So maybe there's something there. Okay, well, I was wrong about Apple.
Oh, go ahead.
Now Apple's $1 in the money.
All right.
Wow, more than $1. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I was trying to get lighter on Apple, and it turns out that we didn't need to at all. Joe, man, this has been, it's been pretty. You know, like we write down 283. It's at 284.50. You know, we write down Nvidia 195. It goes to 199.
Bang.
You know, it's just like sometimes these markets just tend to extend themselves out a little bit, and it's too bad that we lost a little bit of faith in Apple, but in that move. And again, to me, it made sense, right? The market was ripping, Apple was not. It just.
It's still going, right?
Yeah, man, it's still treating nice.
It's still...
So absolutely nothing wrong with taking. Well, whatever, man.
Whatever.
I can't believe I'm sitting here like ho-humming and it's $1.50 in the money, but you know we should have kept that one and we would have been a little dancing a little bit more.
It's always nice to get a little
it's
bit
nice,
more.
yeah, and I want to take off some risk, right? If I think that it's not going to go, we got to get out of it. Okay, so the other look one here was IBIT. You have little faith, man. I mean, sometimes it's like you overthink things.
Yeah.
Like I write down that 283 because it's a level that I like. We like the stories that are there. We talked about Apple.
Yep.
We see the market ripping.
Yep.
And now it's $2 in, and we could have just let it breathe a little bit more, right? But at the same time, sometimes you make those mistakes.
Hey man,
you make those decisions. It
you
is
know
what it.
You know what they say, right?
What's that?
Hindsight 2020, my boy.
Life's rose.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. Yeah, hindsight's and that's one of the worst things you can have in this business is hindsight.
Yeah, man.
And I said the same thing. Marissa actually, pretty much, it's been a moment of, I'm just joking about this, but obviously we're, never threatening to get divorced or anything like that. But I'm always second guessing everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, why, we could have done that, but instead we did this.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is what we've chosen to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're doing it. So let's be happy with what we're doing. It's like, oh, well, we could have gone to that restaurant instead we went, it has nothing to do with, that's a bad example.
Man.
There was one this weekend.
I think that was a pretty good one.
Well, yeah, but there was something this weekend. It was something very similar. I'll think about what it was.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing. It was so great.
Yeah.
But I was like second guessing it, and I don't remember.
And then sure enough, you had a good time.
But I think that's the trading part of it.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen so many things go right and then turn horrible, and the other way around. Horrible things that have turned out to be great.
Do you think that we're talking about Bitcoin in the same manner in 12 months from now, 8 months from now?
Yes.
I don't. Hey, what does that mean?
Clock it.
Clock it. Oh, I thought it meant clip it, maybe.
No, clock it means.
Clock it.
Yeah. I'm much younger than you, so I would know that.
Like,
but no, the idea there is, I don't know. What do you think about Bitcoin? Why do you ask me that for a couple of years? You think it's going to turn around?
You never know.
No, you never know.
I don't. You never know, right? You never know.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. But yeah, in the terms of absolute return, I think Bitcoin. I'd rather be in. Okay, here's a question.
Yeah.
What about gold at these levels or Bitcoin down here for the next 6 months?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I can't even. Yeah. I mean, what do you want? Digital gold or actually do you want gold? Like, I mean.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
To be honest with you, I don't like any of them. But if I had to choose one, where are you going to see a greater return? But where can there be more potential downside as well too? And I think that's the digital gold. I know a lot of people saying gold, but where can you see some more of a return? I think it would be in Bitcoin, to be honest with you.
More return.
Yeah.
Right. But obviously more risk. Do you think more risk?
Yeah. Yeah. I said exactly.
Right.
There's a double-edged sword there, right? So
I do. Someone in the chat there. I mean, we want to say thank you so much. There was a lot of great talk there. And here's Celeste there in the chat said good position management to save some of the profits there. So thanks for that. And that's kind of what Joe and I talked about, and we talked about it yesterday. Even though that end phase was an L, it's getting out. And looking for the next trade. Yeah. Like we did that yesterday. My first couple of trades yesterday, we lost on Nvidia. I think we had to wait for one of them to SpaceX. We lost on SpaceX before we reversed our decision again. And this was an easier one for me to get out up here because look at all these outs we have right at the pre-market levels of 198, and then we take out another piece as it just sort of starts to go pretty ham there. And now we're debating, and then another piece out right there at 197.50. So now we actually in a position where we can reload this if we wanted to, right back at a key level here for NVDA. I'm just trying to watch out for the futures a bit. Nvidia, I'd rather get it back to 196.50 into this area where the 200 period is and the 50 period before we think about reloading that. So that's going to be something on my mind there for NVDA as we look around for another trade opportunity. Like nothing's been halting. I have the Hulk scanner up. YHC halted. So that's 4 million shares. This could be a name, 80 to 90 cents, down now 60% YHC on your Halt scanners as well. The same thing happened with Apple. Right, Apple took off, and we just started to get out. Now, we have 5% left now of Apple, and it's actually I was apologizing for getting out on the way up, and there it goes, Apple. So sometimes you get a good thing there going, and that would have been a good trade. Other talks today, right? We talked about FSLR. Well, you're already on end phase, FSLR there with a move down, so we get a good story in the space. But some of these names continue to go a little lower there as well. And a quick little look on gold, just real quickly to see what's going on there. Upside a little bit. Still waiting for Bitcoin to get going. So if that does happen, we'll get over there. So yeah, that's about all that I'm doing now is just trying to wait, potentially rebuying some Nvidia down there at 196.
Good stuff. I like that one. I think we're going to engage a little bit here in some SpaceX. I like the way it's looking right now. I mean, obviously things can change, and if it breaks through the low, then we get out, right? So it's that simple. We're going to keep it black and white just like that. It cracks through the low of this support level. Then we just get out of the trade. We had buying pressure start to slowly step in, and now we're starting to give up a little bit of a move. I'm trying to catch some bottoms, and we seen with yesterday with the TQQ's trade, you had to wait like an hour and a half after the open. So maybe it's going to take a little bit more patience, but there it goes. Not too bad of a little pop there, Katina man. Where is the volume weighted average price? Right at 164. So let's see if we can diamond hands this one and hold it for a little bit longer. There goes DRAM doing exactly what I wanted to as well.
Chicago PMI.
We got Chicago. Let's send it over to Adara.
We have Chicago PMI, guys. The number we got here, 56.7, higher than the forecast of 55.1, but below the prior print of 62.7. So again, higher than the forecast, but below the prior print here for Chicago PMI. Here's a look at the market's reaction. Currently continuing in this bull flag pattern here, I would say a little bit of an attempt to push higher on again. Higher than expected, but lower than previous Chicago PMI. JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m. Stay tuned. Back to you.
Yeah, JOLTS should be pretty decent. I mean, that's more of to me, a bigger number to see what's happening with the jobs market. So you know what, man, we just take advantage. Let's props that up. I mean, there goes NVIDIA. We took advantage of that release and was able to get out on the top side of that play for NVIDIA. So I'm going to let this calm down because, again, like now I'm getting those feels again where the market, Joe, is upside right now. The market's, if you look down here, bottom left, we are taking out the highs, right, or trying to take out the highs right now. And NVIDIA's kind of like getting a little lower. Let's check out Intel. Intel was a name that I liked there at 130. We'll see if we can get some love down there. So that never went down. NVIDIA gave us a move down. Intel did not. Well, Intel gave us a move, I guess, to 131, but that was at 925. So that move, we weren't never going to take something like that in the pre-market. And there it's nicely cooking back to the upside into 135 now. And that's pretty much all-time highs. Well, I shouldn't say pretty much because it's not. 140 is. But coming back in for Intel, really cooking nicely there on INTC. So, yeah, good look there for anybody on that front. But it looks like Intel right now starting to go higher as this market tries to mature up a little bit. And, nice recovery here for Apple. So let's take another spot here if we can at 84 teens. We'll see if we can get that one out and about now. Just seeing Cerebras hitting, CRB BMS. This is another name here that's a recent IPO about a month and a half or so ago, I believe, or about a month ago, pulling back in. Yeah, May. Oh, I was actually right the first time, May 13th. But there it is, making that move off of 200. This is going to be a key level. We'll see if Cerebras can get back into 2 bills. And if it does, I think there might be something there on that one. But yeah, other than that,
is that a name you're looking to buy?
I mean, they're doing something different with the memory, right? Like they have a different plan of how to, store and use memory. It's a different chipset than everyone else is using. So interesting there for Cerebras. Not necessarily a name I'm looking to buy. No, to answer your question.
IO Silver, Howard the Usher. I know. I don't know if you answered that super chat there, but what do you think about Marvell Long?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, never heard of it. He probably likes that one. I think we're gonna get a breakdown here momentarily in SpaceX. I don't want to get out prematurely, but I'm not liking the look of this one's price action here now. Consolidation below the volume weighted average price, looking like we're going to take that additional leg lower. As soon as we crack this consolidation low, then I'm just at a dodge on it, right? Like I'm wrong, have to be a little bit more patient. And we also have risk measures that we need to take into consideration here. So 161.50, which is probably headed to right now, I just don't like the fact that you have to order shorts on this thing. Still, I know it's not much, but it's just a.
You want me to get you shorts on what?
I mean, I don't want to be hopping back and forth on it, Katina man. I know they're not very expensive or anything along those lines.
Fair enough,
it's just
brother.
like we should just be able to just.
No, we used to have Arun on the show, and he was the same kind of way. He's like, I'm not going to pay for shorts on something.
Yeah.
Even if they're super cheap, even if they're $1. You know, it's the fact that now my focus might be over there.
Exactly.
Because even though you've only spent a small amount, it takes some.
It's like you feel like you want to use that.
Yeah, and it's just more about like you can only look at so many things.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
and I want to keep my focus on a couple of names here.
Yeah, you're good.
DRAM putting in a lower high, but a nice little uptick there in SpaceX. So this consolidation at 163 giving us a little bit of trouble, but we're right in on DRAM at the volume weighted average price. I have half the size on DRAM than what I do on SpaceX. So I would prefer if both of them worked, but if one was going to work and do me a little bit more of a service, it's definitely going to be SpaceX here.
So quickly about what do I think about Marvell? I mean, look, the thing is that to be honest with you, Jensen slapped basically $1,000 price target on this name. It's only, he said it's the next $1 trillion, has the potential of being the next $1 trillion company. I mean, Adair might even remember the exact words, but that's what it was. And so
he said the next $1 trillion company, everyone.
Okay, so he just said the next one, not even potential to be. But so, if that's the case, it's only a $250 billion market cap right now. And man, has that matured from under $100 billion market cap when we started talking about it. I'm longing this name at $60, added to it at 80. Now we're upside. We all have these stories, right? I mean, everybody's long something, hopefully, throughout this move. And, do I wish it was Micron or SanDisk or some of those other ones? Yes. But at the end of the day, Marvell is here. The only thing about that question, do I like the long up here? Honestly, not really. We talked about trying to get out, and here's the daily on Marvell, so it's fine. But just from today, we're a little choppy here on the NASDAQ. Feel like we just made that move into 286. I don't like the long in this area. I think if we can fall back into the 50 or the 200, that's something to look at for the day. And then if you're talking about longer term, which I was with that $1 trillion comment there, I was lucky enough to get some out at 330 before that move came in. I have nothing out here at 340 near the top. We'll see if it can get back up there. But if we're a little nervous about sort of this rotation out of some of the chip names and into something like a J&J or something like that, I am using Marvell as a way to raise some capital. So I'm there for the ride. But a position that was $5,000 or whatever, let's just throw some basic numbers out, has now become $25,000. So there has to be, at some point, a little bit of reweighting in your own portfolio. And there's one for you, Joe, that you saw earlier.
Joey options, and the AM Go Silver. Yeah, I mean, let's go. DRAM with a big uptick. Oh, let's go, Katina, man. There we go. Yes, sir, SpaceX.
I like that.
Yeah, man, there we go. DRAM as well, starting to find something stepped into the market, I think, at this point. NASDAQ breaking out. DRAM breaking, and then we also have SPCX heading towards right above the volume weighted average price. So this is what I'm talking about, baby. I want to hold it a little bit longer. Obviously, that's the ideal. But 160. What am I in at on SpaceX? 162.15. We're trading at 163.19s, Katina man, and there goes SpaceX. A nice little look there for us. Let's send things off to Adair, guys.
So all I'm seeing right now is Chinese state media, Xinhua, reporting that, quote, the Chinese minister said to the Saudi counterpart, so Saudi foreign minister, that China is asking for maintaining momentum of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. So it looks like China also wants these U.S.-Iran negotiations to proceed at a steady momentum. That's really all I'm seeing. If I see anything else, I'll let you know. But could be a good look there if these U.S. and Iran negotiations continue. Back to you.
Good stuff. Great trades, my guys.
Yeah, good trade, Joe. Yeah, no problem. I was having a lot of fun here trading with Joe. Good trade there, as we all have different styles, and you know, you're definitely showing that as well. Both of us try to hold on for maybe a little bit longer.
But think about it. So we had this conversation yesterday, like little less size, longer holds, right? So you could just breathe a little bit. But when you put on the size, obviously it's like, okay, take. But there's nothing wrong with it. You got to find what you're comfortable with and then just continue to roll with the punches, I think, Katina, man. As SpaceX is really starting to cook up a storm. Listen, we took the hit bright and early. I'm going to remove half. I know that's a lot, but we're going to leave the other half for a runner. But this has been a pretty good trade for us. We took the hit on end phase, and the goal is to obviously, hey, I took the loss. Now I want to try to hold this this winning trade as long as possible to eliminate the loss. Okay, I know we're sitting in some DRAM, but what SpaceX is doing for us right now is really nice. Okay, let's see what some people. Joe is more aggressive when Sean didn't love it.
That's right.
Hey, man. You gotta live up to the competition. Yeah, exactly. So we're just like Sean talking about SpaceX as well, going to NVDA. It's funny. Yesterday I was trading NVDA. This morning Sean's got it. Yesterday he was trading SpaceX. This morning I got it. And that's what you want to do, is you kind of want to feed off of each other and just try to create something where you're rolling with the punches and we have the ability to put on some of these trades. And that's all we really want to do for you guys is have a good time and put on some solid trades.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about, right? Having a good time, being with each other, and we don't get to host often together, so it's been really nice. And unfortunately, we had to let Neil go. No, we didn't. All right, as you guys, not yet. As we're just playing around. As we go, Neil's in London enjoying it. And I actually looked it up because I was thinking about him, and I was like, oh man, there's that huge heat wave going through Europe, but apparently it's not. You guys can confirm it. I actually just asked a large language model what was going on there in London, because I was gonna message him to see how he's been doing. But so I don't think it's that bad. They were saying like 24, 25, pretty much like ideal. And I was talking about this yesterday. Yeah. That's pretty ideal weather for when you're traveling. If you're sightseeing.
If you can wear no tarp or
if you're laying around a beach or something, maybe you might want maybe a little warmer. But I think if you're sightseeing, you're traveling around, like when we were in Rome and it was like 40 degrees there, that was a bit much, man. Thank you to Marissa for pushing me in Trevi Fountain. But she did not. There goes 286. So there it goes, man. I was like, Marvell needs to break that top if we're going to do anything. And there it goes, Marvell, just really appreciing the move higher right now. So there it goes, blackout to the upside.
A lot of love in the chat, man.
Marvell. Who's getting a lot of love?
Both you and I, man.
Oh, both you and I. Well, I think we're a great combo, man. I think all of us have its way there. And the thing about Joe is, man, Joe's the man around here. This guy's doing double duty over there. So we want to say thank you to that. And then pretty soon you're going to be joined by Obi on the midday.
Yeah.
The Joby will be there. Trading some of those helicopter names, Joby. But yeah, so right now we're $4 in the money. Maybe that's why. But my mood's always pretty good, regardless of what we're doing over there. You know what I wanted to look at was speak about Neil and speak about the hosts and everything like that. AVAV, right? I mean, you and I both looked at each other. We liked the quarter, but we didn't like to really trade it there. Yeah. I said maybe we could hold the 200 period moving average, which at the time when we talked about it was at 170. So I'll have to look at it because I mentioned it. So that would have been 174.50. That just cut like butter right through there, right? I think if you're going to look at a name that is a first day mover, especially on earnings or even like a dramatic upgrade or some sort of a breakthrough of something, you got to let it settle down. So it looks like we did get a nice move back into 160 there for AVAV. And as Sharif had mentioned, there was a couple, sort of kinks in the armor there, but I think that 156, 157, that looks like that might have been a level there that we just bounced off of. So there we go. And oh boy, man.
Oh boy.
It's going, man. I mean, Apple is now $2 in the money. SpaceX with my guy over here is absolutely crushing that play. So we're going to go 2 for 2. And again, it's just about having a good day and having a good time and, following your own rules, regardless of what you guys write down. If you're a small cap trader, if you're whatever you are, we're not into IBIT, that didn't hit. We're into Apple, that hit. SpaceX didn't give it to me, but my guys got it over there. there. There's 195 long in Nvidia came in, 283 long came in on Apple. Now Nvidia's $3 in the money and Apple's $2 in the money. That's $5 in the money in the first half hour.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are the kind of trades. I like to trade big cap names. Sure, they're not those 40% movers in a day, but, you know, at the end of the day, what color is this?
What is it? It's money.
It's green.
It's color.
No matter how you make this stuff, that's what's important. I'm doing it here for the family. This guy's doing it here for Milo, and we're getting ready to rock and roll. How was that pup today?
He's good. Better? Yeah, he was good off the jump, man. It's just the scare, right?
Yeah,
like obviously, dogs can't be eating that.
Whenever you got to take them into the vet or something like that,
it's never good, right? Obviously, I mean, hey, I'm like the more like, hey, let him thug it out or no, obviously
let him thug it out. Wow,
you know what I mean?
I like
everybody automatically, no, guys, I'm joking. That's like my child. You got to understand, it's not good. I wasn't at home for the situation, so I personally couldn't handle it, and I'm happy the way that Selena did. But anyways, aside from that, guys, we're here to talk about stocks. He's doing good. He's doing great. He's back to his usual ways, even though he never stepped out of it. He just ate something that he shouldn't have, so you get the scare because the symptoms of what could potentially have happened is what really, really gets you frightened. But what we do have, Katina, man, is SpaceX looking like it wants to head towards the high of the day. And then we have DRAM, drama over here, guys, doing us a pretty solid one. Listen, I told you guys bright and early, we took that hefty hit on EMPH, and then we have these two winners, which turned us from red to green. So good thing we got out. So I'm long at 52. Imagine I held that $4 against me. I still had it at $2 against me, which isn't good. But we said at the low of the day, we're at a dodge, and the end phase still hasn't found any form of a recovery. So what are we going to do right now, Katina, man? Nah, we're going to post up at 73s here on DRAM to see if we can get an out there, my brother.
We like that one.
Look at it go. Let's go.
Yeah, at Kill. Someone said, Kilgore Trout there said, didn't know I was a romantic there in Trevi Fountain. I proposed in Central Park in New York.
So
let's go. There. Yeah, we had a nice little, near some bridge, which she almost threw me off of that as well. But no, that was a lot of fun. So we did that. Central Park was a lot of fun. We went and we got a baguette. We got some nice.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go have a picnic. So we went to some nice little bakeries type of thing beforehand, and boom, the rest is, as they say, history there. So one of the luckiest days of my life, obviously. So, all right, with some luck, we may get a good number, depending if you're long or short. Let's go back over to the desk with Adara and figure out what go on. Nice trade there, my
What do we got? How many dollars is that one?
I don't know. Tell me, man. $3 on that. All right, 10 seconds to go. Then we'll come back and have some fun.
Gold job openings in 5 now, guys. Forecast 7.295 million. Prior here, 7.618 million. We are expecting a bit of a drop. 7.594 million. So again, guys, JOLTS number 7.594 million versus the forecast of 7.295 million. This number, much like what we saw with Chicago PMI, it's going to be well above the forecast, but below the prior print. Again, JOLTS job openings 7.594 million. Consumer confidence lower than expected, 91.2 versus that forecast here of 94.4, and it's also below the prior print of 93.1. So lower than expected consumer confidence, higher than expected job openings, of course, following a higher than expected Chicago PMI print that we got at 9:45 a.m. Bit of a pullback here now on the NASDAQ as we digest these numbers. A couple different things to talk about here, including AVAV with their earnings. This one's been mentioned a couple of times here. Initially gap up, but giving up a decent amount of that move heading into the open and on the open. They beat on EPS, beat on sales, but guidance for fiscal 2027 a little bit lackluster, especially when it comes to that adjusted EPS and GAAP EPS estimates. Let's take a look here at crypto. MSTR near lows here. Coinbase actually bouncing a little bit off the lows. These names had a decent recovery yesterday, but today not faring too well here as Bitcoin continues to fluctuate here to the downside below that 60K level. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe as we send you back over to Sean and Joe.
All right, thank you, Dara. Yeah, well, I was just saying to Joe, like, man, like, I can't believe we dropped out of that Apple. Apple's now 260, 270, and going higher here in the money on that one. So it's like, you make those calls, and that's what's happened sometimes. But the market could have said to the downside. I mean, it's a nice little move down there, getting just a bit lower right now. All right, guys, one thing we have to talk about, of course, is an offer that your broker is probably not offering you. Markets have been extremely active lately, and for traders, this kind of environment creates great opportunity. Big move means more setups and more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing appropriate risk. No more fear of blowing up your own personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're afraid of losing your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, join tradethepool.com. One word, tradethepool.com. Click that QR code right there or find the link in our wonderful description of today's show. So again, we want to thank Trade the Pool for their continued sponsorship. And sometimes we have Mitch on, Steve Tileman coming on as well. But wow, man, now Apple, both of these names now, exactly the same amount in the money. Both are $2.70 right now. I don't know how that exactly is true, but Nvidia right now, $198. Apple, $286, as we continue to climb higher and higher here. And we'll try to look for some more names in what we want to talk about. Yesterday's trade of the day, for me, I had a great little long there in Palantir at one point, and that name's trying to go again. Look, the NASDAQ was negative when we opened. We're now up 1% right there in the NASDAQ. We went quickly off that gem, and then we switched over to something else. Not much going on there, but look what it's doing. Joe, it's holding VWAP right here at 380. So that's an interesting little look there. Wow, now Nvidia is now $3 and going higher as well. Not a chart person, but happy birthday to you. You know who. Happy birthday, Joe. Apple looks like institutional buying pattern. Word up on the chat. Keep it real. Risk only what you can. I mean, no better advice.
Whoa, where's my guy?
What you can.
Where's my boy Jesse? I haven't seen Gorev. Have you seen anything from a signal standpoint? I mean, we're in a couple of opportunities here. Los Pollos, I haven't seen you in the chat. Tried taking both of you guys, but I can't do it. Those are my OJs, Los Pollos and Gorev. Obviously, we in love with AMZN as well, too. Why not mess with RAM? It is 2x leverage. You are very right, my friend. But we also have to take into consideration liquidity. Now, it's not overly liquid. With that being said, you're going to probably fall into a wider spread. Right now, we got SpaceX and we have DRAM. That's all I need. DRAM isn't overly expensive. Don't forget, I have no issues with using these leverage products, but I also like to use it with underlying assets that I feel are a little bit too expensive. Don't forget, I have risk measures that I need to implement and always keep an eye out on. So for me to head over to RAM, which is $25, DRAM is $72. I don't have any issues with that. It's not my birthday today. A guy from work, Joe, is in love with me, says Ozen. I do have actually somewhat of an infatuation with you, my friend. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the energy that you give off, and you're a rich individual. So that's what we like. That's what we like about you. But SpaceX put in a new high. Katina, man, we're fortunate enough to get some off at 165.50.
Yes, sir.
Then it pumped back up to 165.80, came back in a little bit. But the name that I really want to get the ball rolling here is this one. Let's see if we can break through this pre-market zone. You can see we have a resistant level right in that neck of this one here.
Oh, Nvidia?
Yeah. Let's see if we can break this 198.50, and I think we can start to climb a little bit more. I mean, this had 5 consecutive red days leading up into yesterday's session, so it wasn't the prettiest of weeks for that name, and considering it is down 18% off of its all-time high.
Yeah, good talk there, Joe.
Thanks, man.
I do really feel like that Nvidia look, that's part of the reason why we like that 195. And I mean, if we're going to look at 195, we talked about it. It's on the node. Joe and I sort of agreed, and that was yesterday's level. It just came right back into it. So that's why we wrote it down on the node. And yeah, quite frankly, I mean, we dip bought into the pre-market lows. So that was our first take there at 195.75. Then let it bleed a little bit down there. We're obviously pretty lucky to get near the low of the day there on Nvidia. But is it lucky? Or, at 928, I reviewed where all the orders were. And, Nvidia just got picked up. So, I think that there is some sort of value to sitting around. But I just want to tell you guys now, 5% left in Nvidia, 5% left in Apple. So it's the same kind of a trade. Apple's the one that I feel like we could have done a little bit better on, but we didn't. I do want to look quickly at the broader market here as we go for a quick little sector watch. I know we have a segment of this coming up. But just because the NASDAQ is up that 1%, I did want to just focus here. When you're looking at this is the S&P 500 heat index, and it's Nvidia, it's Apple, it's Broadcom. There's many names in here. Intel, AMD, KLAC up 4% as well. Dell up 3%. SMCI up today. Microsoft, there it is, trying to get going as well. But look what's not going today, Joe. And these are names that have really struggled. There's Netflix down another 1%. With the NASDAQ being up 1% from the bottom and now 1% on the day, would expected Netflix to get going. I know Neil just recently put some money into IBM. That's downside there as well. I like the stock. CRM down 1%. I put some money into IBM lower as well. CrowdStrike up nicely. PanW up nicely. Google, the big dog, struggling a bit. They buy some valuation there. I like Amazon trade. They're down. Here's your retail sector. What's my guy Target doing? Did it hit the price target of 140? Yes, it did. But now it's down 3% today. Again, is Target as that goes downside. The retail side, not wow, man. Apple, both these trades are now $3 and blasting. It's interesting that Eli Lilly and this side is actually down today because we did get the story from Eli Lilly and from Medicare that they will be starting to cover some GLP-1s and some of those weight loss and diabetes drugs and whatnot. But yeah, that's what we're trying to do right now. And there's a big one, producer manufacturing, huge today. We talked about GE Vernova. We could look at IREN is the name that I have, and Constellation, CEG. We'll look at some financials, but we do have news with Adara.
It's not news. I just wanted to explain why some of these names might be down today, including Eli Lilly, I believe Pfizer as well. A handful of these companies getting letters here from U.S. lawmakers led by the leader of the House China Select Committee. His name is John Moulinar, representative from the U.S. They're basically releasing these letters here related to drug testing in China. Pfizer, I think, might have been implicated. I know for a fact Eli Lilly was. He announced it on CNBC. Oh, there's a super chat for me. Thank you to I Can't Read. Elevators make me fart. Thank you for the super chat. Shout out to Adara for keeping us informed. Much appreciated. Shout out to you guys for, thank you for the super chat there. And shout out to all of you guys for participating in our chat. If you want more info on the Moulinar situation, I can cover it as well during the Sector Watch at 10:40. Back to you.
I mean, you may want to get that looked at. Elevators shouldn't be doing that.
But I think it's a nervous thing. You know when the nerves start.
Is that how you get a little nervous?
You get gassy. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. The more you know.
Have you ever seen that one? I think it's the Naked Mile of American Pie, where the boyfriend sneaks into the house, gets nervous because the dad's coming downstairs, and then happens to proceed to do anything. I do that in
so
court.
Some valid
well, I
things
mean,
happening there. Interesting.
All right. My birthday is in October. The best month maybe of the year.
I have September, so we're a bunch of fall babies.
Yeah. You're September?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what is it? September, it's early September, isn't it?
Mid.
All right, mid.
It's like my trading.
Yeah, it's like the gas too. Hey,
come on, Dad, that joke was mid, Dad.
Is that what the kids say these days?
Something like that. They say stuff like that. It's big
trick or treat, says
mid,
Tony.
and all these kind of things, man. But I love the fall. Love October, September.
Yeah.
You get the end of baseball, the start of hockey.
No, I'm a Libra.
Football, the start of
it's not a big
hockey, football, end of baseball,
October,
basketball.
Yeah.
Getting ready to start kicking off as well. So yeah, man, a big sports
nice,
in the fall, that's for sure. Well, I mean, there's lots of sporting events at all times, really. Spring, you get the Masters.
I started OVO. So I don't know what
you started. What?
OVO. I don't know.
You started OVO?
Yeah, I don't know what Drake's on about.
That's why you're rich now, man. You got those.
I don't know
what do you call coming through? The rights.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time he mentions OVO, right there. But okay, let's look at IREN. I wanted to look at some of these other names that were moving around a bit here. $45. IREN's been a disaster. We bought some of this name at $50. Right there. IREN's not doing well at all. When you get names like GE Vernova, some of these better names starting to go. And again, IREN attached a little bit to Bitcoin, so that's part of that problem there. Bitcoin mining and whatnot, powering those use cases. So IREN getting hit a little bit, not a great one there. IREN. So I mean, I'm in it, so I don't like that. The most recent buy though was Google, and we did that around that 347, 348 mark, and that's a nice play, right? I mean, it's down today, but I think Google can find that base. We talked about the Mag 7 being down 10%, and Google is exactly down 10%. So, it's matching with that. And I think if you're going to own that Mag 7 ETF, you can almost just buy Google. I mean, I like Google for all of those similar reasons that most people like it. Alibaba, and again, we always talk about that word moat, and that's like, what's protecting, what can come in and take advantage of their business, right? I mean, it's reasons why Salesforce, and those kind of names get hit on the software side of things, because everybody's worried that moat that they developed as far as seat licensing and all that, will people need to continue to buy those licenses if we have all of a sudden an easier pathway to developing that software with some of this coding AI. But Alibaba, nicely cooking right now. I don't know what's gotten under this one, but there goes Alibaba right now. Maybe some nice Chinese love back into this market. I mean, really taking off now. I was saying this yesterday, Joe. I think at some point this name probably needs to get bought. I mean, Tencent today with a couple share buybacks. TCEHY, heard that today. They've lost over, I think it was 300 billion. TCEHY. TECHY, that's what it is. No, 10 cent, PK, is that right? My charts just aren't switching anyways.
No.
But anyways, yeah, 10 cent, nice move lately, and Alibaba as well. So we can watch out for those names as they continue to go boom in the night. SMR, is that below 10 bucks yet? Like we did have that Oklo moving around a little bit here today. SMR still just hovering around 10. Would like to see it. Like I said, I think this name is a buy once we break through 14, but I'd like to see that first. So that's that 14 level right into there for SMR. Talk about, newer technologies. And I don't want to throw good money I don't want to throw bad money after good, or whatever that sentence is. Like, just because you're sitting on a little bit of cash because you've raised it, doesn't mean you need to jump into some opportunities because these levels look like this. Be patient, wait for something to click and wait for something to hit, and on that note, I'm still waiting for Uber to get back up to like $78 or so, where I'm going to sell a little bit of this position as well. So Uber down 2% today. What's the story on Jack? We can ask that to Adara if you have anything on.
I looked into it. There's absolutely nothing. This was on watch yesterday, too. There still wasn't any news. There was this headline from last Tuesday. That would be a week ago. Jack in the Box apparently announcing the completion of their $500 million secured notes facility. This thing's currently at session lows. And again, no news. This news is 1 week, 7 days old.
Yeah, well, so no news. Thanks, Adara, for that update. And it's looking like, it wants to break right now through. So watch out for this $16 break. It looks pretty darn good to me in and around that level, man. 15.98, 16 bucks. Looks to break lower there on Jack in the Box. So, boom. Jack in the Box. You ever have one of those growing up?
I think so. Lorex, you got to understand Lorex streams. This is a day trading show. Like, what do you mean don't day trade? This is what we do. This is how this firm works, is that you day trade. I mean, we were long right here. We pieced some out at the previous break of the high, and then it just comes back to my break even. I never re-engaged in the trade. I think investing and day trading, it's not that I think, I know that investing and day trading are two totally different beasts, but this is a day trading show, my friend. So, I mean, we can always get back in at some point. I don't see an entry, but I mean, it is what it is. We got out a little bit too soon. We got stopped out 30% of our position. So we'll try to find another entry here just in case we decide to run. I do like the way that DRAM's looking on a daily. That's why I had my eyes on it bright and early this morning. Nice little hammer candle right there in this trend. So just continue with the strength.
Wow.
Some solid opportunities to buy right here. So, I mean, I'm looking at NVDA as well too, Katina man, but it's not really holding up.
No,
and
Marvell.
Marvell's up another 6%, but hey, it is what it is. This resistance zone at 198 coming into full effect. Maybe we'll get involved with some AMD here momentarily as well.
Whoever that super chat was, or they messaged about Marvell, like, my hat is off to you, because Marvell was down here. Okay, remember I was like, if we break 286, that's pretty much, where we would think about going long. You can't just, get involved in this. The NASDAQ was ripping to the highs. There it is right there. So was this the same one as before? Yes, okay, thanks, Andre. So yeah, shout out to you, Suni, there, because you absolutely nailed that, and that was about a half hour ago. And it was right down into here. You asked about it. It was right at VWAP. I was a little worried that the market was also potentially top heavy. It's the same time. So there it is on the market, bottom left, when you're asking about it. Market broke out. Marvell then just bounced cleanly off of VWAP, and wow, that's horse sense right there. That's an absolutely great call on MRVL. So nothing else about that. That's amazing. And if you're looking to raise and get out of a little bit of Marvell, I would say you take advantage of a 5 or 6% move. You can't be displeased with that, especially if you are nervous about what potentially is happening in the space. And that is, we talked about the stepping when you were commented on that one, but the DRAM and everything like that. We know that there has been an exercise play here in demand, and Marvell part of that, right? They're part of that whole data center build out for sure. Thoughts on ALAB short term? Oops. There you go. No, that's okay. Let's go, man. There's 3K from this individual as well. So love that call. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and definitely one that I missed. And yeah, that's amazing. I couldn't be happier with the trading that I put on today, and I know Joe feels the same way. So we're really happy with today. I watched. Okay, thoughts on ALAB? You watched it. You're okay. Short and long term. Oh God, you got 2 for 1 here. I watched it dip down to 100 and didn't pull the trigger. Then I was afraid to get in at 200, 300, and 400. What is this? What about 500 right there? Astera Labs. I mean, this name, Joe. I don't know if you've looked at it, but It's one of those Kramer things. Again, you and I both, like to listen to what he has to say sometimes. And it's not about judging where the price has come from. It's where it's going and what it looks like today.
Holy cow.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would say long term, I like it. Short term, I mean, it's completely blasted off. And if you're going to look at like an RSI or something like that on Astera Labs, I mean, here it is right here on a daily for Astera Labs. You're at 77. You're getting a little extended there on the RSI. Let's wait. Every time it's pulled back into the 60s, it's been a buy opportunity. And, when it was doing that, it was down here at 366, 370. So, we've bounced off of it since all the way back into May. This sort of 60 level on a daily on the RSI there for Astera Labs. So I would just say if we can play back into that level, that would be something. And that would give you your $60 mark. So your 60 marker there on the RSI relative strength index. So right now it is well extended higher. We've been higher, right? Back in May of 28. May the 28th, sorry, we got going. That was on this extended move. So that's when we hit the top. And then again back in April. So it must have been right there. So, big jump ups have resulted in slight pullbacks. Here, it just resulted in a flattening out a little bit. And this name, we did continue the jump up, then eventually pulling back. I would say if you're going to look for a pullback level, it's always pulled back into previous highs. So there's the breakout. Here's the pullback into the high. Here's the breakout here. Here's the pullback into the high. Here's the breakout there. Here's the pullback into the previous high again. So we've broken out one more time, and I know I sound like a broke out record, but right there, if it pulls back into previous highs, then that again looks to be a buy on ALAB. And I want to thank you for the super chat. And I mean, all Joe and I can do is, Sands using this ball. What's up to Mr. Westermeyer who sent this to us? We can't predict where stocks are going. We just try to give our best guess.
Yeah.
And the 8 ball tells you that ALAB looking pretty good back at past highs. We're $3 in the money on Apple. That's at day's high right now, looking to break through 286.
Okay.
Just to talk about maybe where to get out. What about a break? We did break this 25 period moving average, and I got to try to maybe do a little bit better job holding on to these things, but we nailed this one, so happy with what we've been doing. But what about a break of that? That's 285.50. Last time we broke it, it went down maybe 20 cents from there. I'm going to put a stop out maybe at 285. All right, so we can break out $2. We'll give that back a little bit. Like I said, man, we're under 5. We're at 5% of both of these names. Looking to get out maybe some more Nvidia. I was looking for 198.50 again. If that comes in, we'll take that. But for now, it's Nvidia, it's Apple, and we've had a good talk about some other names today as well. So thank you for those super chats about ALAB and Marvell and whatnot.
There goes.
What are you doing with SpaceX?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything right now. There goes AMD looking like it wants to climb a little bit high. I want to get involved with some NVDA here, Katina, man, but I don't want to buy it in this consolidation zone, especially in the middle of the range. What we want to look for is on the lower end of the range, around 195.65 here potentially. DRAM about to put in a new high of the day. We got stopped out break even on this wick, which we're totally fine with. We got to capitalize on a little bit of this trade here. I mean, I don't own DRAM, but we got some Google involved. I mean, we got our exposure to the AI infrastructure buildup. But there goes SpaceX. There's clearly a triple top starting to be formed. Now, are we going to get the participants stepping in, breaking through this range? I think that's going to be a massive teller on how the rest of the day is going to go, especially if we breach and then come back and retest the zone here on SpaceX. Maybe you get the follow through on that one. Stairlabs is absolutely nuts. You're still in both of your positions there, so you're just riding this wave.
But it's 5%. Like I'm trying to.
Are you looking to add a little bit more, or what do you think you got going
if there is, I mean, I'm always looking at that 200 period moving average, to get an add, and we're not really there for any of those names. That's why I looked at that SMR, I looked at that Cerebras. We do got to go back over to Adara. So let's go over to Adara. We'll get the small cap recap going, and then we'll come back, and I promise you we'll find another one.
Oh, man.
Keep an eye on CELZ here. CELZ, CELZ. This is Creative Medical Technologies. This company filing this Form RW or from RW, which basically will withdraw their registration statement. They were planning, I guess, on offering securities, no longer doing that. So CELZ no longer planning on doing an offering. Good look for the stock. This company is a 3.6 million share float. Keep an eye here on EDBL. This is a name that's rallied in the past, $1.42 million market cap, 5.4 million share float. This stock is currently penny stock here on 26 cents, entering a long-term strategic alliance with a strategic partner in the food and egg sector. And last but not least, JEM. This name's been mentioned time and time again. I could not find any float or market cap info, which is interesting here. It was on our watch list. It was mentioned this morning as well. JEM here, 707 Cayman Holdings. They appointed a new executive director. This is a Hong Kong company, guys. Be careful as we send you back over to Sean and Joe.
All right, yeah, that's 707. We do have this one, INTJ, halting a little bit here as well. So, this name has halted a couple times, up 22%. INTJ coming back into the 200 period moving average. Thank you so much, Omen, for the $2. You guys teach, we have taught you so much on the daily. So, thank you so much for watching us daily, and it means a lot. You want to check out CoreWeave? Why not? CoreWeave, another recent addition into the NASDAQ 100. Before I even look at the daily chart on this, Marvell pulled back. Like some of these names have pulled back off of recent additions, right? I mean, Palantir got into the index. You see where Palantir is 115, 116 now from a high of 220 and change. And CoreWeave, as I now look at the daily, pulling back, right? I'm not sure the day that exactly was added to the NASDAQ 100, but I'm pretty sure it was like a week and a half or so ago. And that was 120 pulling back in now. If you're going to talk about, you just mentioned that, thank you for all we taught you on the daily. Well, here's a daily chart. And this looks to me, honestly, at a decent level right now. We'd like to get above the 200 period moving average. And to take a quote from our good friend Brian Shannon, who should be joining us today in the afternoon, wait till it's out of the penalty box. And that penalty box means you got to get above that 200 period moving average and try to base out a little bit. I think if we use this as our springboard, then we could have a good little level here for CoreWeave. And again, it's that whole data center build out, right? I mean, I'm not super worried. I mean, some of these stocks have battled back over the last little while. We do know that there is a push now for AI, and no matter what inning you do believe it in, this is compute power for CoreWeave. And we do know that although Grok and Tesla, now SpaceX, has been selling some of that compute, CoreWeave, same kind of business. So we'll wait to see if that one wants to work. Nebius has sort of had the edge up there in some of the European developments there with the centers that built in Europe. And you can see Nebius, I would prefer them to CoreWeave right now. But again, on a valuation side of things, CoreWeave on a chart at least anyways, CoreWeave back now to 200 period moving average. Nebius continues to work deals with Microsoft and Meta, so on and so forth, helping NBIS. So all these names continue to work and to continue to look pretty good. USO on a little bit of a move there today, but pretty choppy, not much action going on there. Just trying to bounce off 107, potentially worth a look. I do want to remind everybody that tomorrow we have July 1st. That doesn't mean anything to us around here other than Happy Canada Day. We are still live. We're live every single day unless there's a U.S. full-blown holiday, meaning that you have bank closures and federal holidays. So we'll be closed on Friday. There was some talk in the chat that Friday is a half day. I do not believe it is. I think it's closed absolutely all day Friday. All right, so I can double check that, but I'm almost 100% certain that it's a full day. We are not in on Friday. All right, so if the markets are closed, we're not in. But tomorrow we're in, so happy Canada Day, early Canada Day for everybody, and get those fireworks going. That is for sure for Canada Day and July 4th. How many of you guys out there are firework participants, or do you go somewhere? Around here in Toronto, there's actually a few spots you can go for fireworks. Thank you, Joe, for the reload of the coffee there. There's down by the beaches there. They've got, what's the beaches where all the fireworks are called? Not Smuggler's Cove, that's up north.
there
I
goes
forget what it's called.
SpaceX, man.
But anyways, good spot there. Canada's Wonderland also has fireworks. Place in Etobicoke Centennial Park. But does Milo like the fireworks?
I don't know if he's ever there experienced.
Yeah, some dogs don't like it. I always see in our neighborhood board, they're always like, oh great, like more people firing off fireworks. Like
it's like boo-hoo, Crimea River, man.
Down there.
Too much complaining is too much. Man,
but there is some
people in Canada.
You know, there is some stuff about that. I mean, but anyways.
Dude, how many times a year are you hearing fireworks?
Yeah,
like relax.
4 or 5.
You know what I mean? It's just like Crimea River.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel, right? Sometimes people are getting too much in your business. Like the other day, I'm standing in like a while ago. I'm waiting in front of my garage because my button, my clicker, the battery died, so I couldn't open the door. Right.
Go inside and
So I wait for someone to go in. Right. It's a condominium, so people are flowing. And the guy pulls up beside my car and he goes, "What are you waiting here for?" I'm like, "I'm just waiting to get into the underground. I live here." He's like, "Where's your clicker?" Like some dude I never met. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Where's your clicker?" I'm like, "The battery's dead." He's like, "Well, you should probably get that battery fixed, don't you think?" And I'm like, "Dude," I'm just like, "Dude."
You're
honestly like yeah. Like, it's just like woosah, man. Relax a little bit. Like it's not that. Yeah, they are big time, Luis Suarez. I will not deny that for sure. Look at the market go here.
I know, it's unbelievable.
It's looking really good. SpaceX has been good. We were out a little bit early with the reload on that one. I'm still looking to get involved in some NVDA, but it's not displaying anything for me right now. But what we do have working for us is these higher lows, which is something that we can look forward to. But look at DRAM just absolutely go. And then look at SpaceX go. We break through that triple top right there, Katina man, and continue to climb a little bit higher. So things are looking really, really bright in this market on today's intraday session. Google down. Our guy Google, man, Wilson Katina Capital.
We're too much capital to work there or what?
Never, ever. How much cash do you think we should be sitting on?
So in my personal account, I'm like in like less than 5%.
I'm 10% now.
I don't even know what I shouldn't say. I'm not sure, but it's probably less than 5. I'm not.
Wilson Katina Capital is all in. Yeah,
I'm almost all in.
Fractional.
Well, I think, and we don't want to talk about investing in a broad. Well, no, we do, but I mean, it has to be broad talk because everybody has their own individual needs, right? I mean, and like if I'm talking with my father, who's 76 years old. He's going to have a different investment portfolio than hopefully you and I do. And, that's part of, what schedule and what section of life you're in and how that's flowing. So, make sure that you do invest properly. That is for sure. And, don't get too excited about it and just make the right calls and you'll be okay in your life. And I don't think that, especially with rates now, 4 to 5% on cash. I mean, if you're at that level and you've been riding, the NASDAQ just had a 20% quarter. Like, let that sink in for a little bit. The NASDAQ generally is up. I mean, we can ask this too. I mean, the NASDAQ's had a great run over the last 15, 20 years. There's no doubt about that. But 20% quarter, like, there's something to be talked about there. And there's so many stocks that are leading the way. I do want to talk about another trade potential here that I have. And that's going to be Palantir on the break. So I was thinking there's 2 potential trades here for me on Palantir. And one is just a short right now. And I almost did it. I almost put the short against basically 116.75, 116.50, which is the high of the day, all right, for Palantir. The fact is the market's up 1% right now, and Palantir is only up 0.4. So the market's actually up 1.2%, and Palantir is only up 0.4. So Palantir is not really, moving around the way that I had sort of hoped it would. Leading into, this kind of a move there today. Pretty choppy for sure. So I just thought if we break 116.50, which is this level right here, then my plan of action was to go long on Palantir and then see if we hold basically 116 at that time, 115.80, something like that, where we have these 200 period, the 50 period, the 25, everything's down into here, 115.50 area. So I was going to say for $1 worth of risk, and we know what Palantir can do when it gets going, both ways, right? So lots of potential there for Palantir. I think if it breaks this 116.50, we do get to 117, which is again into that pre-market high where we would think about getting some out. So I think roughly a 1-to-1, a break of 116.50, hold back to 116, maybe average in a little bit, and then maybe give it another quarter. But Palantir does have an opportunity to rip your face off at any time. So you got to be careful with it. But I think I'm going to try that one as we just continue to climb higher. We're now $6 in the money. We got $3 on Apple and Plus and change there. And Nvidia's $3 as well. Still waiting for, I know I said Nvidia 198.50. We just touched out to there. I actually have it at 198.80, trying to get it at this very top right now. I'm going to move that, Joe. I'm going to put an offer into 198.50 right now, see if we can get that, and then we'll see if we can climb higher into 200 for Nvidia, because it's, blue skies if we break above 200 for that. That should signal another leg higher there for NVDA. I like the stock.
All right, man, good stuff. Yeah, there goes SpaceX. What a missed opportunity. Got me on the pullback here. So then now it just went off to the races. I'm posted up on NVDL at 29.20 for this bull flag, but we're really starting to pick up some momentum in this bad boy as we're heading into $170 there, Katina, man. This is some good stuff. Oh, I'm not going to catch this fill on NVDL, am I? This wedge, this ascending wedge is being formed. You can see the consistent higher lows on this one. So I want to try to catch the lower end of the range to maximize my risk to reward ratio, but it looks like it wants to break. But don't forget, guys, notional value, this has the largest amount of short interest, I believe, in the NASDAQ or in the S&P. Where is Jesse, someone may ask? He is dealing with is crazy. He actually has his children's birthday today, so he won't be attending us today. But other than that, man, SpaceX was the play. I thought you were going to hop on that train here today, Katina, man, but you got Apple, you got NVDA, so no need to feel any forms of FOMO. We're up 2% on this bad boy, and DRAM really strong today. So Lorax, thanks for pointing that one out there, my guy. AMD struggling a little bit here, Sean, so not too bad of a look. We're going to get this pullback momentarily, and I think that's going to be able to fill our order. I like it because as soon as it breaks through the volume weighted average price, we're at a dodge on this one. And if momentum happens to pick up 29.40, we just break through that level, that could be a good ad side, a good ad position where we come back, retest the level, and then maybe we can find ourselves a trend day. Yesterday it struggled a little bit. It was hovering around like 0.7% to the north side, could barely hit that 1% marker, but now we're up 1.6%. So I like the look of this one here. It's not too bad. Amazon looking like it wants to turn positive. Our guy Meta is still down 1%. So there's only 3 out of the Mag 7 that are red and can turn green at any given moment. We've seen what Google did yesterday. You're only down about 0.1% here today. Now 352 with the break. 353 is what we're trading at right now. So some good positive strength in AMD up 3% today. ASML up 4%. Wow. AMAT up 5%. Nebius Group up 11%.
Yeah, we talked about that with Corey. You were gone.
Yeah. Look at this pure buy program here today. So yeah, there's a lot of strength here today, and this is what we want to see in the market.
Yeah, I mean, and here's another name that's kind of just cruising around here. Micron, not doing a whole heck of a lot, only up 0.4. So we get all these movements that Joe and I have just been mentioning there, but yet you get Micron just kind of hovering around and looking like it wants to be a little choppy one over here. So I'm not sure what we're thinking about Micron right now at these levels, but 150 and change potential level there for MU coming back in right now. So, levels of 1160 maybe for a short, but we talked about, shorting something yesterday did not necessarily work out the greatest for shorting Micron, that's for sure. And that's a very dangerous play. JP Morgan at 330 just hit on the scanner, taking out the day's high right there. So we were a little worried, Joe, earlier about the banks, but that looks like that's come back in. And here we go, man. New position finally hitting.
What are you going on? Oh, yeah, you're going 195 and a quarter? Oh, you're already.
Sorry. This is Palantir 116 right now. So we'll put out 10% if we get a 70 fill. Put another 10% out if we get an 80 fill. And we'll put another 10% out if we get a 90 fill.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to try to do right now. Run this to the little bit to the high side. There's the break of these levels on Palantir. And just thought that, hey, man, maybe we can get going just a little bit upside for PLTR. Let's give that a go and see what we've got now on Palantir. So that's what I'm doing now in one position. There it is. There's our first take right there. out at 69, did I do? Yeah, so 68's there, out, so that's 20 cents real quick. We're gonna go, that's just our second trade today, so we're gonna give it, our third trade, we're gonna give a little bit of room. And where are we gonna get stopped out? We said 116, that's 115 down there as well on Palantir. So we'd like to get at least 1-to-1, but a scalp up through 117 would be kind of fine for me. And we did say that, hey, maybe the top of that trade might be 117 anyways.
Okay.
But yesterday we had that break on SpaceX of 160. It pulled back about $1.50 into some of these levels where we're able to buy those dips. So I still think that in and around 115.75 or so, just looking at some other charts, but yeah, that's where VWAP is. So 115.75, that's gonna be my stop zone. So if we do fall back into 116, let's just put back on, we got out at 10% only. Let's put back on a little bit more into that trade, and we'll see what winds up happening here with Palantir as we're dropping back down a little bit through 116.50 again. So, hey man, we took a little bit of profit. Let's put it on there and see. We only have about half a unit right now. We'll see if we can get another unit near 116 and then give it to 115.75. We might also put that stop in right now, 115.69er for a stop there on Palantir. And we're gonna see if we get a little bit more down there near 116 flat. So, give it a go. Right now it's not working out for us. The market is trying to pull back just a bit, and that is what's going on now. Let's get out of some more Nvidia as well here, just in case the market does go sideways or flat for us here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened, Stevenson, we'll take a look at it momentarily. Man, what a second leg up here for SpaceX as you're up 2% on the day. Yesterday putting in a monster session as well alongside Tesla. Tesla up 0.6% bright and early this morning. So things are looking pretty good for Elon Musk and company. Played a little reverse psychology. I'm like, you know what? Let's see. Let's get some size in, just a little bit of a feeler right here so that it comes back in and gets our order at 29.20. Obviously, I'm being highly sarcastic, but let's see if we can catch that fill. That's where the majority of our size is. And if it breaks down, then so be it. We have that wedge that's being formed that I do believe we can, if enough capital starts to step in, obviously it takes a lot of money to move this name. If we have enough capital stepping in, then maybe we can get that breakout here on NVDA. SpaceX once again going monstrous now from my boy Stevenson. Have to take a look at LCID. What's up, Stevenson? Let's see what he's got going on here. I thought it was the Lorax again. Yeah, I mean, a couple of days of strength, but I mean, let's look at the bigger picture of things. This is absolutely disastrous. You have a reverse split, I believe, right there. In September of last year, or September of last year.
Boy,
I don't like these the car manufacturers, to be honest with you. I did own a bunch of Tesla, and there's a completely different reason on why I own Tesla. I don't care about the EV numbers. It's the forward look of obviously Optimus, the RoboCab as well. I understand that's an electric vehicle, but it's more or less an autonomous vehicle. And what the now you're talking a merger between We're talking merger between SpaceX and Tesla as well too. So the numbers obviously aren't fantastic, but when you hold the majority of the market share in specific regions, there's really only one way you can climb, right? Like you can only hold so much of it before you have competition start to step in. And I think that's the same narrative, even though two completely different spaces between Tesla and even NVDA, holding onto high margins and holding onto the majority of the total addressable market. You have competition stepping in, people starting to catch up to the technology, and unfortunately it kind of hurts the value and the market share of specific names.
All right, we're sort of averaged into as far as we want to here. We have 1.5 units now on Palantir, but it's not working. Right? I mean, we should have stuck with what we were talking about earlier, and it's going to break and we're going to get stopped out here. I said 69 is our stop. It was a weaker stock to be, there it goes. It was a weaker stock to begin with on Palantir, so it just didn't really have the juice to get going. We did step into it, potentially now into VWAP, into some of these lows. Yeah, not great. So that was definitely a fail there, and we got to flush ourselves down the toilet. I mean, we will, we'll lose pretty much about a quarter of what we made on Nvidia. So we do take an L there on Palantir. So yeah, that was not a good one there. It did come all the way back in, but we were able to get some more out of Nvidia at these 198 levels, and still watching out for Apple, watching out for that 285. Let's get out of this one if it breaks 285.50, okay, for Apple, not to let that one fall the way back in. So 285.50 for Apple. We'll put that order out right now and go back over to the desk and see what's up.
Strength in tech and tech-related manufacturing, weakness pretty much everywhere else. Let's start with what's strong here. Electronic tech, you've got a lot of these chip plays, a lot of names that got beaten up in early in yesterday's session, regardless of if they bounced. They're doing quite well today. Dell up 4%, Intel up 4%, SanDisk up 7%. Micron about flat here, but you've got AMD positive analyst note today. They're up about 3%. Nvidia, Apple, Broadcom also strong. Now, if you go over to producer manufacturing, AMAT continuing that epic rally. Some analysts weighing in on this one this morning. LRCX, Caterpillar, GEV to the upside as well here once again. Now let's get to what's weak, because there's a lot more of that. Communications down. These were down sharply yesterday, continuing that trend today. Health services weak. Consumer non-durables weak. Utilities weak. Transportation, you guessed it, weak. Consumer services, with the exception of McDonald's, is not doing very well here. Let's talk about health tech. I alluded to this earlier. Let's get more into it here now. So Merck and AbbVie both being investigated by the House Select Committee on China, led by Representative John Moulinar. Now, he said on CNBC that he also sent a letter to Eli Lilly. So Lilly apparently not facing investigation yet, but could be facing investigation. It has to do with drug makers doing drug trials in China. Back to you.
All right, well, that's the thing. I mean, we talked about that with Sharif there, about some Eli Lilly in China there, and some of that approval. There's some sort of that GLP-3, I guess, or whatever that they're trying to do that helps with some of the muscle loss.
With the retatrutide?
Yeah, retatrutide. Yeah, is that what it is there? Retatrutide. So, yeah, good talk there. And yeah, Eli Lilly down today. I mean, they, I thought today when we got that sort of Medicaid news there that this was going to spike through on Eli Lilly. I just tried Palantir again and gave that one 15 cents, and that's breaking lower. So, we took enough of a hit there on Palantir to give it up. And I just thought maybe we got out a little premature, into these lows, but we just took it again. So if anything, the market might be due for a little bit of a pullback, but I took 75s there and stock out want to break a 60. So 15-cent quick little hit there. And this is where for myself, I sense to get into some trouble when, I start averaging into something because I think it's a decent idea. This is not working. So we got to stay away from Palantir.
All right, yeah, all right. And we got Nikki Garcia. What's up, brother? Much appreciated, man. Yeah, you have to pay much respect to the OGs, the individuals who started this. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So Nick Garcia, been here for 3 years. Joey Boy has really grown on me. But Sean and Neil will always be the GOATs. One thing that took forever for me to learn is y'all helped me with was discipline and risk. Big green day. Yeah, man, that's all that really matters.
And David got just 10 super chats.
10 memberships, yeah.
Thank you so much for those ones there, David, as well, for those gifted memberships.
Superstars,
yeah, hop in the chat and grab those. You have to subscribe, and you can grab those memberships, and then you can do all this. So Micron Millionaire, all these little faces there, Sean and Neil. We really want to thank you guys for all that, and yeah, it's been awesome.
How come I can't even do that, man? Like, I was like, come on, I can't put my own
guy,
face
I guess, over there. You don't want to put your own face on there, do you?
Why not?
Okay. Maybe you do. TSLL there.
Yeah,
from High Trader.
What's up?
That's a name that you always look at, of course. That's dual or triple levered?
It's duo.
Yeah.
Duo lingo.
You want to have a quick look at that? I mean, we didn't look at Tesla. You just talked a little bit about Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about Tesla. Here's TSL. What,
Try
Tesla?
not to look at Palantir.
Oh, don't look at it. Did you get stopped out?
Yeah, just twice. I just got back-to-back stop outs, so it's quite higher. But what do you think about Tesla?
We'll see we got with Tesla. Yesterday, we put in a monster session. I wouldn't be surprised if things look at that, continuing on the same trajectory. Palantir, no, don't do it. Hey man, you got multiple dollars anyways on.
Nah, it's all good. It's just now it's starting to go back up.
We're starting to form a bull flag here, Katina. Man, I don't have that circle thing that just highlights everything, which I
hold
like
control.
A lot.
Is that working?
No, when I'm on the other dome.
We can set it.
Yeah, we can set that up there. We'll get Fabian to do something else along those lines. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good here. I wouldn't complain. Wait for this pullback towards the volume weighted average price if you're fortunate enough to get one of those, and then maybe we can get a continuation in today. But also look at it from a daily. We're kind of in no man's land, right? So we want to break through some of these levels. I think that's going to be giving me a good opportunity, and even you guys as well too, to trade at $450. Bang, right? 450.73. We break through some of these levels, but what we do have is this secondary trend being breached, and then now we're having a couple of strong sessions. So Tesla not looking too bad here. No, SpaceX at the high of the day.
Yeah, man, SpaceX is a sweet trade, and this is how I know you're mini me, because it's like I looked at the same thing. I was like, no, Apple, we did so well on it, and no Nvidia. What are you doing? And no Palantir, you're not my friend.
Yeah.
what is it, reverse split or something? Well, I mean, Beyond Meat's not going to $40. Well, it was $1 name, wasn't it? What's going on with Beyond Meat over here? 77 cents. You know, there's these things now like rage baiting, you know? I just feel like...
I felt like that was one of them. That was for sure.
And it's just like, yeah, look, you know, we talked about sort of that protein shift that they made there into more protein-based. I think it was those drinks, and then there was some rumor that, you know, maybe the U.S. government was trying to, you know, get into some of the, you know, the protein game there, and then that might, and that was for supplying of the troops and, you know, of all these kind of things. And I just...
Nobody wanted that.
I don't know about Beyond Meat, man.
Nobody wanted
this
that
name.
stuff,
Let's check it out. This used to be like a 65% short float. I'm going to assume that a lot of that has come off BYND just because they've been, So now it's 28% short. I don't really know. You know, I would look at the PE, but they don't make money. So, you know, nothing going on there. Revenue growth down 16% year over year. Just not great, or 1 year down 16%. So, you know, there's not much going on right now with Beyond Meat. And I would say, you know, tangible book is negative. There's not much going on there. Net income minus 30 million. So yeah, you know, thank you again for bringing it up and making me look at it. But at the end of the day, I don't think Beyond Meat is really, you know, worth too much of a trade here as we go. So, you know, just be careful with trying to catch some of those falling knives, because, you know, it's just because it's 77 cents doesn't mean you can't lose 100% of your money. You know?
Yeah.
It could go all the way down, and we just be careful. And we've got that super chat about, you know, talking about learning from us all. And I think discipline is one of those things. And if you look, if you want to take Beyond Meat, let's just say, forget about what's doing today. It's up 10%. I mean, that's probably what the super chat's in reference to. Great call today. And maybe, is there an individual story today? Maybe Adara with Beyond Meat? I know it's up that 10%. Yeah, it's up 10%. But I would just say, like, you know, don't let it break the 65 mark. If this is the beginning of something.
Yesterday, they launched their Beyond Steak Fillet. No, I'm not joking. I don't have anything else. And that was yesterday morning.
I'm not eating anything that's beyond steak. Like, I'm eating real steak.
Well, you wouldn't get that lab steak?
No, man, not for me. But I'm sure there are some people that enjoy still Beyond Meat. I mean, during COVID and when it was like real popular, I don't know if that was COVID. Sure, we, you know, fully admitted we bought some Beyond Meat burgers, but did not prefer them. They are not.
What are the ingredients?
It's all soy. It's soy and salt.
I used to eat like soy burgers. I like black bean burgers as well.
Yeah.
Too. But I don't need to call it like a Beyond Meat. Like, it's just a veggie burger, in my opinion.
You know what's good? Like the portobello mushroom. Like
I'm not a big mushroom guy.
Oh no, those make for decent burgers. You're not a big mushroom guy?
No.
Oh man,
yeah,
we all ordered these pizzas. Like I said, there was I was telling you left yesterday, but just the stories of when you go out to these tournaments and the dads and everybody hanging out afterwards, and the wives and the kids are asleep. You know, it's 10 o'clock, it's whatever time it is, and everyone's hanging out in the lobby drinking and so on and so forth. A popular pizza choice was sausage, mushroom, onion.
Okay.
And then some dude, we're just sitting there, and there's a bunch of us. There might have only been 15 of us or so. All of a sudden, this Uber guy walks in, and anyways, one of the dads ordered 30 cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
I've seen that. That's crazy.
And was just chucking them at everybody there that night.
Did you get a cheeseburger?
I had one cheeseburger. Some dudes were having 3 cheeseburgers.
I
woke up with you know, some antacid problems, I guess there. Too many cheeseburgers from McDonald's. But yeah, shout out to that Uber driver. The guy was super fun and cool. But stories from traveling, that is for sure. All right, so Beyond Meat, decent look there. And thanks to Dara for their Beyond Steak Fillet.
Okay.
Fillet, I should say.
I'm going to get out of NVDA here momentarily.
Yeah, there it is. Thanks for NVDA idea. Made a lot of money on that one. So congratulations for that idea as well.
Men shouldn't eat soy. I heard that going on. But yeah, anyways, enough of the
soy.
cheeseburger.
Yeah, there was something about that.
Enough of the cheeseburger talk, man. Cheeseburger Walrus. Shout out.
Do you ever watch?
Who's
what's
that?
it called there?
Bob's Burgers?
No, I never watched that. Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, Cheeseburger Walrus.
Right. Okay. That's what you're getting at. Randy.
Good times.
People don't know about Trailer Park Boys. It's pretty funny. Like,
it's the greatest Canadian show of all time.
How dare you?
That is an
Degrassi
unbelievable.
Anyone?
Are you kidding me?
I'm not saying it's a good show. I'm saying it's a Canadian classic. It's iconic, and I think Trailer Park Boys is whatever, fine. But I'm just saying there are a lot of other Canadian shows out there. Don't know.
Yeah, there's, I mean, SCTV.
All right, this is what is that? SET. Yeah.
This guy's too
Did you
much.
just say what is that to SCTV?
Yeah. What is it?
SCTV walks so like Trailer Park Boys, or it ran so Trailer Park Boys could do whatever it does. SCTV is some of the best Canadian comics ever. R.I.P. Catherine O'Hara. Eugene Levy started on there. I grew up on it. It's excellent. It's from the 70s. Fantastic.
Yeah,
But
Joe.
put the poll up,
Smart enough,
Fabian.
my guy.
Put the poll up. Greatest Canadian TV show of all time. Trailer Park Boys, Degrassi, and whatever they just named
For some
right
reason,
there.
I can't think of more, but there's way more, man. Red Green
Those
Show.
all suck. Like, you're gonna compare these to the ultimate classic
No, Trailer
show.
Park Boy is
It's
very.
like, it's
I also
goated,
wasn't that
man.
saying Trailer Park
That's
Boys
crazy,
was good.
man.
I just don't. I feel like there has to be better. Canadian-
Everybody in the show is like, Trailer Park Boys is the go. There's nothing better. It might be the best thing to come out of Canada in the past like 20 years, if you aside from Justin Bieber, maybe on
Now you're speaking my language.
on that one. Let's see what we got going on here. SpaceX guys coming back towards the high of the day. AMD has been consolidating along the volume weighted average price for quite some time. Let's see if this bull flag is going to break out. We got a key support level right here at 196. We're going to get a super chat here coming momentarily, but it's not looking too good, man. This thing might take a couple of attempts, but I don't want to go gung-ho on NVDA when the sentiment on it has been negative for sure. We're going to send things off momentarily. Let's used to work for BM. Have too much inventory, keep innovating without selling existing inventory. When I left, there was 50 million worth of inventory. What is I don't know what BM is, Katina, man. I don't know if you want to. What is
Well, I wasn't paying.
BC Moly? I've never even heard of this.
Used to work.
For BM.
Oh, Beyond Meat.
Beyond Meat. Oh, Beyond Meat's there. Okay.
BYND.
Okay.
You know, when you work there, you call it BM.
Oh, all right.
We don't know about
The
that.
baby
All right,
money.
it's Money Talks
Let's go.
with Adara.
I will say I'm pretty sure that the Trailer Park Boys does not have its own Netflix original, which Degrassi did. Let's get into this Money Talks, though. DXY here. Currently, it was green for a second here on the day. Now looking like it's going to have a 4-day losing streak here for the U.S. dollar in the week of Independence Day. So far this week, as you guys can see here, we are a little bit red after a really strong push to the upside last week. We're going to keep looking at the yen here. So look at JPY to USD. So you mentioned JPY was at a 40-year low to the USD as of yesterday. Intervention and watch, and also, of course, this potential Japanese yen carry trade unwind, as Sean explained this morning, also in focus. Currently seeing comments actually coming from Fed's hammock, so be aware. Quote, the inflation is still too high. The Fed may need to consider rate hikes, so that's going to be on watch here too. Speaking of rate hikes, still not seeing the majority chance that we're going to be getting one at this next meeting, 31.5% chance of a hike, but 68.5% chance that rates will be held. Now, if you look forward here to the probabilities, still seeing that we might get a hike in September, maybe no other hikes, just holding going forward there. Let's take a look here as well at the economic releases for the day here. Speaking of, rate-related moves, JOLTS job openings higher than expected, but quits also higher than expected here. CB consumer confidence lower than expected and lower than the prior print. So lower confidence here, more job openings and higher rate of quits. Chicago PMI a little bit higher than expected here, 56.7 versus estimates at 55, but it's also going to be below the prior print of 62.7. I saw some people mentioning Apple in the chat, not seeing any news here as to why this would be moving. If that comes in, I'll keep you guys posted. Keep an eye, though, on potentially Altria here, MO in focus. Axios reporting that the FDA is allowing ZYN to sell pouches on health benefits. So again, Axios reporting that the FDA will be allowing ZYN to sell pouches, citing health benefits. MO to the upside. We'll take a look at PM as well, another name in the tobacco space. Also doing really well. Back to you.
I don't have the bang, otherwise I'd be hitting it for the zins on the good old medical.
Yeah. You shouldn't do anything nicotine-wise, my guy over there, but yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Let's go over what's for lunch. Packs of Zinner for lunch? No. Today we have the U.S. flag.
Okay.
So that's generally been pretty good for our lunches.
Okay.
Because yesterday we had the Japanese flag.
I'm not looking.
That was the salmon.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't too bad.
Yep.
Salmon yesterday was some salmon teriyaki. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm liking the build up here.
You what?
I'm liking the build up here. I'm not
liking
looking.
the build up here?
Just keep it. Roll. Lead me in the direction.
It's a classic.
Okay.
It's a classic.
Okay.
It is beef related.
It's beef related. Okay.
So U.S. flag beef related. Is there any guesses that you potentially have
Were we
here?
referring to
There is a
walrus?
sauce involved.
A sauce. It has nothing to do with the walrus that we were talking about not too long ago.
That gentleman would like what this is.
Oh, it's burger.
It's not, but that was a good guess.
Man.
Now, I know I was kind of leading you down that.
Yeah,
there. Today is classic beef meatloaf with tomato sauce.
Bro.
So I just feel like meatloaf is kind of like, I know this is why it's disappointing because we had the burger love there. But meatloaf is kind of just like a stacked burger. Like it's still ground beef. I don't know. I don't know what this meatloaf's going to be like. I didn't mean to lead you down.
What movie is that from? Mom, where's the meatloaf?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not Mom's meatloaf, that's for sure. We'll see what it tastes like there.
Man.
With mashed potatoes, kind of go without that. Roasted seasoned veg. I mean, I like the vegetables here have been pretty good. The roasted veg.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I don't know.
And then for a salad, I don't know where this comes from, but it's Caesar today.
Just one.
What do you think?
Caesar. I like the Caesar salad. I like the Caesar salad. That's
I feel
probably
like
all
you're
BYND.
like a little bit of a trance over this.
Yeah. I don't like. I'm never like the word loaf. It's kind of like I don't like loaf.
Oh, so let me guess. You don't have any loafers for shoes, or?
No, just like
I would see you in
meatloaf.
loafers. I feel like. What do you got on today? I thought you got some loafers on. Oh no, those shoes. You don't have to show everybody. Yeah. Okay. So meatloaf today.
Meatloaf sucks, man. It's all right. Well, hey, we got to be thankful. Beggars can't be choosers.
But the good news is it's beyond meatloaf. So
Okay.
shout out to that person in the chat over there.
I like the meatballs.
Psyops.
I like the
What's up,
meatballs
Psyops?
here.
Well, if you like the meatballs, that's what I'm saying. The meatloaf
But
is
it's
another
different
form.
when it's constructed differently. I think the construction of the protein,
Joe.
man,
That's not.
is important.
A ball of meat is the same as a square of meat.
Well, it's not. One's a circle, one's a square.
Taste-wise.
You don't know that.
I don't know that to be true.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're going to make the meatballs the same way they
You know
make
that
the meatloaf. I have no idea.
So-
But I'm just saying, it should be somewhat similar. We'll let you guys know back at 2 p.m. or maybe even during the midday show what the meatloaf is tasting
Juan,
like.
man, I don't know about you sometimes, Juan Padilla, man.
Yeah, man. Juan likes Arsenal.
Juan Padilla?
Okay.
No,
All right.
not
So what
our
else are we
one.
working with here? We were able to get out of some Nvidia before it dropped through there. We've started to try to leave Palantir alone to go with. Unfortunately, this note right here, I want to thank you for all the super chats you've had. Quite a nice bunch today. But Bitcoin holding. If you look into BTC 500-day halving rule. When is it now? So October, November of 26. Okay. So you want us to look at the 500-day halving rule.
What does that even mean?
I'd have to go over and figure out, is that when, Bitcoin halves, right? There's halving cycles.
Yeah, it was in like.
Does it have every
it was in
500
like
days? Is that what it is?
No, every 4 years.
Yeah, so every 4 years. So
It's like.
1,200.
Yeah, it's 1,200 days.
1,300, 1,500 days. Yeah, so I don't know what that means, but hey, are you talking about a 500-day moving average or something like that? We could probably set that up and have a look. But for right now, wouldn't it be best to buy BTC-related stocks then? So I would say in October, November, exactly true. I mean, we'll look at that for you. I'm going to sort of look that up, that 500-day rule there. Maybe talk about it in the after show or the after noon show. Look. I think at any point you're going to want to look to maybe average into Bitcoin. I don't think the story's over with Bitcoin. And
To the downside.
I mean, as much as average in as it goes down.
Yeah.
If you're short, you're laughing right now. But we already looked at that longer term frame. It looks like 30,000 could be some sort of
think
action
so.
there
I think
if that winds up coming in. And I don't have any problem with someone that's trying to pick it based on time frame. So if it is a cycle thing and we can show that, hey, it's time to bounce back up, then that's what it's all about. Get over there, Joe, with less than a minute left. I want to thank you for, once again, another great show. Joe will be joining Sharif. Again, good talk there today. We actually, it's a little bit disappointing. We didn't have any halts really at all there this morning. This one just halted right now. GIBO, maybe that's a... Excuse me, did not get that mute in on time there. But another name just moving around, down 18%, no volume at all. Nothing printing today. This JEM on a small cap name might be something to look at, there. But yeah, other than that, man, this is still up 213%. And then a name that we didn't look at that was really moving around, that's now a disaster, is AVAV. AVAV has given back almost its whole, look, it's still up 15%. So great move on that. But It was up 35% in the pre-market. This name got to 190. Been bleeding all day, AV. So that name continues to get lower. And yeah, just because we just talked a little bit about Bitcoin, IBIT still doing its own thing. You know, downside push there on IBIT. Was waiting for a pop-up. I actually wrote in here, darn. I wrote down 33.75. I actually didn't realize we must have had a little run there at 10 o'clock on IBIT. Got up to 33.50. So I think that could be the new level to short in and around here. 33.40, 33.50s in and around here for IBIT. So if that hits during the midday, have a quick look at IBIT down there. Thanks to Dara for everything she added today. Obviously, we had some great conversations there. Thanks to Joe, great day, thanks. Thanks to Tiffany for dropping that Beyond Meat in my ear there. That was good. And thank you to everybody who's been watching today one more time. Andre, Fabian, Ramin, everybody there. Brendan, involved with Trader TV Live. It's been a good one. Am I going back to the desk that I just hear? All right, so I'll see everybody later. Back up to Adara, then to the midday.
Yeah, thank you, Sean, for the shout out there, and shout out to Sean and Joe for a great morning show. Can't wait to see what the midday has to bring. But in the meantime, Amazon news. Nothing massive here, but just keep an eye here in AMZN. Amazon Web Services investing $1 billion with the goal of embedding AI engineers with customers. Again, $1 billion investment towards embedding AI engineers with customers for AWS. Without further ado, it's time for the midday.